Welcome back, guys, to another podcast. I haven't done one of these in a really long ass time, but this time I have three guests. First off, we have David, aka Detrimantics. What's going on, David?
What's going on, guys?
Long time, man. I think we did a podcast last time on the Gems system, or comparing it to the older games as well. And then we have Neoxon. What's going on, buddy?
It's good to be back, Vesper.
Neil is definitely going to be helping me with the Marvel side because I don't know what's going on. And then we have Sneakers, which is the guest of the guest. Neil, what's going on, Sneakers?
Hey, what's going on, Vesper?
So, yeah, I haven't done a podcast, I think, with four people in a while, so we'll see how it goes. But the main reason we're doing this is we're going to be talking about the latest leak list that went public, and it's very credible because it was posted by Rice on NeilGaf, I think. And yeah, man, we've got like the full roster, but you guys, there's some characters missing on that, right? Or we don't know yet. Is it claimed to be the entire roster?
For the base roster, yes. And I believe one of them meant Sneakers here, I believe, mentioned it was Frank West that was missing from Rice's list.
Mm-hmm.
He said there was like one more Capcom character. So, counting Frank, we pretty much know the entire day one roster.
Damn, man. And no, there's been so many leaked lists on Marvel Infinite already. At least from my perspective, I think I've seen like at least 3 now. So this is like the latest one, and it's gone public. So a lot of people are talking about it. So I kind of want to go through like all the characters and see what you guys think, especially David. I want to know what he thinks. But yeah, okay. So first off, I'm just gonna go through the whole list quickly, and then we'll go through the characters one at a time. So on the Capcom side, we have Arthur, and then Chris. I'm assuming Chris Redfield, and then Chun-Li, Dante, Firebrand, Jedah, Monster Hunter, Morrigan, Nemesis, Hiryu, Spencer, Strider, and Megaman X. And then on the Marvel side, we have Ant-Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Gamora. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Gamora.
Yeah.
Hawkeye, Hulk, Iron Man, Nova, Rocket Groot, Spiderman, Thanos, Thor, and Ultron. And then, like you guys said, you guys think Frank West is missing from the list, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just start off by just talking about what you guys think about this list in general as day one. I'll probably just save David for last. So Neil, what do you think about this list?
I'm a bit disappointed. Like, it's not because of the lack of like X-Men and Fantastic Four. I made peace with that like months ago. My issue is like they didn't really try to compensate. Like, I'm pretty sure Marvel chose their side of the roster, so there are a couple of glaring omissions that are a bit weird for them, like Black Panther or Star-Lord or Miss Marvel. I mean, or Black Widow. Gamora,
Like they'd be
I
like
think
obvious choices, you mean?
Yeah, the ones in the movies or in Miss Marvel's case, a popular comic book character. Gamora, yes, MCU, but it's like I can understand from getting more females, but her over Star-Lord seems a bit odd. It's like I don't hate Gamora, don't get me wrong, but
No,
yeah.
I think it's just a variety thing, right? Like you get like a character like Gamora, like when you think about Guardians of the Galaxy, like I guess the obvious ones would be like someone like Drax or something like that, who's kind of going to be the kind of brawler. But Gamora kind of fills that role that like X-23 kind of had of like the badass female with the knives and stuff.
So
I
they're
actually
thinking of
thought it
it
was kinda
obviously
like
like just characters and then the gameplay as well, right? How they would fit in the game too, you know?
Yeah. Now, Nova is the real question for me because they never specified which one. For those who don't know, there are 2 main Novas in the comic books. In the comics right now. The one who was in Ultimate Marvel 3 is Richard Rider, the original Nova. But the one Marvel was trying to push until recently was Sam Alexander, or as I call him to differentiate the two, Kid Nova. Even though
Okay.
Richard had that name for a while back. But that's besides the point. So the question is, do you think they're going to go with the original Nova or Kid Nova?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to assume that they're just going to recycle the old one, right? That was used in Marvel 3.
Richard Rider?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I were to
hope
guess.
so.
I think it's Richard Rider Nova, unless they specify, because I think because it's a part of the same series, I don't think they'd call Kid Nova or Sam Nova. I don't think they would call him just Nova.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. So what do you think of this list, Sneakers?
I like it.
Really?
But
You like it? I think you're the only one here that likes it, man. Seriously?
I think it's fine. Here's all right.
Oh, dude, you just said it's fine. Like the dog in the burning house, it's fine, dude. Like, come on, man.
The biggest issue with the list, like, obviously on the one hand, you're gonna get people who are unhappy that their favorites or properties or like characters or IP that they're a fan of
Yeah.
aren't being represented. The biggest issue with the list, bar none, is that it's just small. You expand the roster a little bit, you get some more of those fan favorite characters that people want, right? Yeah. Like, it's a numbers game, really, right? And obviously there are some entries, especially when you look at like the Marvel side, but also to a lesser extent the Capcom side, that they have certain priorities that they're trying to kind of promote with these games. And it's obviously just like, you make a Marvel roster like this and you pull almost exclusively from the MCU, especially with characters with upcoming movies. Like, it's obvious where they're going with this.
That's true. I just feel like that first impression is so important, when the game launches, right? It's gotta be a slam dunk,
But that's the thing. Who's going to be playing this game in September? A big group of fighting game community members, people who love fighting games, and for them, they want the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 50-man roster, day one.
Yeah.
And obviously, getting to that point, like production, character development, compared to what Marvel 2 did, which was basically just an asset dump from all of the different, Capcom fighters they had kind of been making in the Alpha series and
mainly the CPS2 games.
Yeah, they had like a lot of old sprites, right?
Yeah, it was just basically a big sprite dump that they just made work. They didn't care about balancing. The game was made in like less than a year. And
it was magnificent. It was magnificent.
Talking about Marvel 2, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Marvel 2.
Marvel 2's original assets could be counted as 3D stages and like
music
six characters. Like who was it? What, Cable, Ruby Heart, Sansan, Samade Amigo, Cactus.
Oh, stop it, man! You're hurting me. You're hurting me, man. You're naming so many good names. Stop.
Yeah, Jill was too.
No, Jill.
Oh, and Jill. Was Surfbot, I think.
Yeah, Surfbot. Yeah. Trombone at the time.
Trombone also, yeah. Those were, and Roll. Roll and Mega Man were in Marvel 1, yeah.
Mega Man, yes. No, I'm not sure about Roll.
Roll was a secret character.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, she was in Marvel 1.
Yeah. So for a big portion of Marvel 2, like all their assets and sprite work were coming from other games. I think they had some of the characters had a couple of new supers here and there, or something like that. But this is, character development takes more time now. Game development's a whole different beast. Like, making a fighting game in less than a year would be unheard of in this day and age. And they,
Yeah.
And not to excuse it, but this list could be bigger.
So you care about just the overall size of it, right? Not just the specifics of who's in it, basically.
I think if you had Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, you give this game maybe double the budget, another year and a half of development time, you get that 50-man 25 roster with the fan favorites, and maybe they square away all the the kind of internal office politics of Marvel and get the Fox characters involved, that everyone wants. But it's just, heck, what were we saying like a year ago? That this game would never get made because the licensing work would be a mountain of headaches and just crap everywhere.
Yeah. It was definitely a surprise, for sure.
No, I always believed they would happen eventually. It was more of a win than an if for me. But I guess my faith was rewarded, kind of.
Be careful what you wish for, man.
like David. Okay, my question is, who is missing from this list for you?
Asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Let me look at the list again.
Because you're the one you're the angriest, right, about the list.
At one point in my life I definitely a little bit peeved, but I would say the most explosive one off the top is definitely the X-Men cast, because historically speaking, in like tournaments, like the X-Men cast always dominated in every game. So, like, if we're just talking from a business standpoint, it's a different beast, right? Because like they obviously want to push the Marvel universe, but for me, it's definitely X-Men is a huge hit. And I do understand that licensing with Fox, but
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I don't mean to interrupt your answer. I just want to say this.
Go ahead, man.
That this happened.
You're glad?
I'm glad about this.
Whoa, what?
Wait. I'm gonna explain.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, putting down the pitchfork.
Please explain.
Yeah.
Before you set me on fire.
It's okay.
All right.
I got my gas can, man. It's all good.
Just just put it away real quick before you get the match out. Hang on.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that we, the fighting game community loves their returning favorites, right? You look at what the big conversation that's going on in the tech community, and like the biggest question is, oh, when's Lei Lu Wang, right?
Mhm.
Like everyone's looking forward to like the few characters that haven't been put in that roster yet. And the reason why is because like when we pick up these games, we don't look at the new cast. We look at the old favorites.
Right.
And honestly, like in that sense, like I've been watching Storm, Magneto, Sentinel destroy in Marvel games for like almost 20 years at this point. Right?
Really? Yeah. It's almost 2 decades now.
Yeah. Almost 20 full calendar years of those three characters just wrecking in that series. And like, yeah, you could have a new Marvel game come out and you can put in like 36 characters, but you just know that if those X-Men characters, Magneto, Storm, Sentinel, and a couple of others that everyone kind of knows and names are in the game, all the tech, all the gravitas is going to be focused around those characters because they're just it's what the top tier players played as. There's a couple other fan favorites here and there, like Clockwork kind of popularizing Strider Doom, right?
Yeah.
And you get these little pocket instances, but tell me right now, like off the top of your head, if you can name big popular characters from Marvel 2 that weren't in that kind of upper echelon of, Cyclops, Storm, Psylocke, Sentinel, Magneto, and stuff like that. There's a reason why those are the biggest kind of omissions, because they're the ones that we're just looking forward to seeing as in a new iteration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're talking about from most people are just used to playing those characters, so they just gravitate towards them on each iteration of the game, right?
Right.
I feel like I'm a weird case. Like, yes, I mean, back in Marvel 1, I played Spider-Man and Strider Hiryu. That was actually one of my first games ever. That got me into both comic books and video games in general. Fast forward to Marvel 2, I played a metric crap ton of people. Marvel 3, at least in Ultimate, I played Vanilla. I went through a bunch of people, but in Ultimate, I settled on Nova, Phoenix Wright, and Rocket. So I guess for me, it's like I don't have that much of an attachment to some of the top tiers in past Marvel games as others do. So I guess me making peace with the X-Men's absence, and even though I'm still angry about it, and I fully blame Marvel, not Capcom, for it, but I guess I was able to make peace with it because I wasn't as attached to some of the... I'm the upper echelon of the competitive players, like the higher tier. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced echelon. I'm sorry.
Echelon, yeah.
All right, well, let's keep this rolling here. David, I still haven't given you a chance to really talk about what you think of the list, like, overall. So, like, what do you think?
All right, you want to release the hounds, man?
Yeah, release the hounds, man.
Okay.
You can...
Where do I begin? I'll try to keep it relatively brief, but obviously there's...
And kind of explain to you where you're coming from as well, right? Just
well, like both me and you, we've been playing these games for like the other guy was saying, it's been like close to 2 decades now, so we're pretty familiar with how the series has evolved, how characters have been nerfed and buffed and how other characters have been introduced to kind of compensate for other differences, like as the games have evolved.
Yeah.
Like I think Cable kind of balanced the scales. I don't know if that was intentional, but there was a lot of things that that other characters just could not deal with. But you put Cable in the game, and with his tool set, it was like you always had to be aware of his meter and the fact that he could take out your entire team if you slipped up, right? So I feel like a character like that balanced an otherwise extremely unbalanced game. So all it takes is like one character to like completely kind of balance an otherwise chaotic roster. But like what's his sorry, not familiar. Sneakers. There you go. I was gonna say, yeah. Sorry, the first time I ever talked to you.
The defender list.
Yeah, you were saying. I'm trying to remember what you were saying about how more or less like the characters are more or less being pushed from the Marvel comic universe side, right?
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The cinematic universe, right? So, and there's a reason for that. So, like, obviously, Marvel has an interest in keeping it in
the MCU.
Yeah, they like people are gonna go see the movies. They want to see these. They know these characters, so obviously they don't want to have a bunch of characters that 20 years ago they were big or in the old Marvel games, but now they're pretty much irrelevant. Like I even remember like Marvel 2 when they put Marrow in, I didn't even know who that character was, right?
Right, like even Marvel 3, we had a little bit of that, like I knew people who worked at Marvel in 2011, and I was talking to him about Ultimate hadn't launched yet. And I was talking to him about like on the Marvel side, they were going to be including Doctor Strange, and Rocket, and they were telling me that there's a reason for that. They're going to try to push these big characters as kind of like movie franchises very soon, and in a weird way, like kind of like in the nerd subculture, whatever, like those two characters got way more exposure because they were Ultimate Marvel characters.
And it kind of helped like with how much they've taken off. Like Doctor Strange wasn't a complete stranger to the comic book fans, but Rocket, outside of those who lived and died by cosmic Marvel, he wasn't that well known until
I can see that.
Until like near the movie's release when they announced it. People started, oh wait, the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning books were awesome, and then Bendis released his mediocre series, but then the movie was awesome, and the rest was history.
And even Doctor Strange, like I think, and maybe that's what we're missing here. I think that like if we're only going to get a lot of returning kind of faces, what's the count? I think Vesper, you had that Bryce broke down how many of the characters are actually just returning.
Yeah, we'll go over at the end just so we can have a perspective of it. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But like obviously, like they're not pushing unknown names in this roster, right? Everything is kind of like a known quantity.
There's like a lot of returning. A lot of returning ones from Marvel, obviously, except for the X-Men, obviously.
Right, except for one big notable character that I know we're going to be discussing, which is Monster Hunter.
I can't wait to get to that. So is David, because David's like, what the hell?
Here's one other thing that I'd like to mention.
Go ahead.
The entire MCU-based roster, the only one that sticks out is Nova. Assuming it's Richard Rider, please be Richie. Does this mean we're actually going to get a Nova movie eventually? Because I'd love that. I would absolutely love that. Like, I know James Gunn's not the biggest fan of like Nova, the solo hero, either Richard or Sam, but obviously he already has Roman Day in the MCU, and he's the one who gives Richard his powers. So it's like the seeds are already planted. So might as well just go through with it, right?
Well, yeah, that's a whole other. I mean, I think if Marvel like who's the Kevin Feige had this whole
Kevin Feige.
Huh?
Feige, it's pronounced Feige.
Right. Kevin Feige had this big interview like a couple weeks ago saying that like after Phase 3 and this next set of Avengers movies with the whole phase system, might be kind of back burner, and that they might be doing a different thing with what movies they kind of pursue going forward. So who knows if we get Richard Rider.
I hope so. It's like, hopefully they just pretend Sam never happened. Even though he's gotten better lately, it's just Richard's the GOAT, man.
So, David, anything else you want to talk about on the list before we get started?
Yeah. Just a couple things. So so basically for me, the roster is a double-edged sword because obviously there's characters I would love to see, like stuff like Carnage, Blade, Sagat on the Capcom side. We've always been joking around about that, but there's a balance side, and then there's the business side, and then there's just like the characters that we want to see just because we like the characters, right? So I think we can say what we want, like Carnage or whatever, or Wolverine or Magneto, but I understand why they're making this decision. It's just that I feel like because it's the American team that's working on it this time, I think
Actually,
they're going
Capcom Japan making the game itself.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know.
All right. I didn't know that. To the best of my knowledge, I thought it was Marvel and Capcom were working on it stateside. So, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it seems like they're going for more of a casual standpoint, and if they do that, then it's more. It might not have the same longevity, tournament wise. People might not gravitate towards it the same way they did with 2 and 3, that kind of thing. I think people will still play it. I'm just saying that they have to kind of be if they put 2. One thing I noticed about this roster is there's not a lot of tri-jumpers, right? And that's really big for the versus series. That's kind of how people open each other.
Doesn't Ultron kind of have one?
Yeah, Ultron does.
But it's not lightning fast like other characters in the past, right? When you look at
and
Storm
Iron Man
Magneto
too.
in the older games, and it's very hard to see. It's very hard to react to, and it seems like they're trying to get away from that.
So David, sorry to interrupt you. It's just you're saying
ahead,
with the exclusion of just like Magneto or Storm, these are tri-jump characters you're talking about, right?
Yeah, so even something like Balsam, those kind of characters, they have that 8-way dash is very fast, and it's something that's very hard to react to for a lot of the cast, unless you have a really good assist, which you won't in this game.
Wait, but there's Nova.
Yeah, and Nova, he can try jump somewhat, but it's more like a straight down jump, and you can kind of see it a little bit better than you could in say something like Marvel 2. Magneto's try jump low kick is almost
right, but
that kind of also ties into this thing about when I mentioned earlier about which Nova they use. If they go with Sam, they kind of have an excuse to change up the gameplay entirely.
Yeah.
But the gameplay's already it's radically different from maybe it's closer to Tatsunoko versus Capcom and Marvel 1 than Marvel 2, Marvel 3.
But the characters look like they maintain most of their playstyle from older games.
Remember, this is not Marvel 4. This is Marvel Infinite, right? They're making it clear that it's not a continuation, right?
Right. And I think that's obvious. That's a very distinctive naming change in the naming convention for them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't want them to start leaning towards contest of champions side more so than the versus series that we're all love. You know what I mean?
I think that 9 months from now, you're going to be looking at tournament play of this game, and while a lot of things are going to be different, obviously the gameplay has to have radically changed because there is no more assists, and honestly, things like triangle jumping, that changes. The purpose of it changes when you think about it, when you don't have assists anymore in the game. Triangle jumping, from a gameplay standpoint, you used to use an assist to cover the fact that you were doing something where you weren't defending yourself at that point in time, and you used to throw out an assist from full screen to kind of cover your approach. Now they
missiles,
missiles, a beam, or sentinel drones or something. Now that's gone. The purpose, if you think about it, in this game, if someone just triangle dashes at you, you just launcher them and that's it, because they don't have something covering their approach.
Right. Well, back in the day, it was just it was the sheer speed that was hard to react to, right? And now that you don't have that get off me anti-air that you had in the older games, you really have to be aware of where the opponent is at all times and what his options are. And like you said, because they took assists out, now you have to be a little bit conscious of how is this game going to play. And it looks like they literally are taking characters that they know are more, I would say, honest, like gameplay wise, so that you don't have that crap to deal with because of the assist removal. You understand what I mean?
But right, even removing assists was always going to just change the face of this series,
Yeah.
like fundamentally. You know?
Yeah.
And it changes viability for even the characters that we know of. Like, think of Magneto in Marvel 2 without Cyclops or Psylocke, right?
Yeah.
Like, it becomes a completely different character.
No, yeah, definitely. Like, you know, Magneto solo versus Magneto Psylocke. You know, as a pair, the game is completely different, right? The opponent has to deal with so much more stuff.
Yeah.
And you need that anti-air assist like a Commando or Doom Rocks or something to get it, you know, to be able to deal with it.
Yeah. So, like,
Sorry,
I think our approach to what this game is going to be competitively, like, a lot of us are drawing kind of like ideas and you know, frameworks from earlier entries in the series, when I think especially after E3 coming up, when we start getting full match footage from the show floor of, you know, the bunch of pros are going out there to go play it, and we're going to be getting, you know, the show floor, like, daily tournaments from each of the E3 days on the floor. We'll start getting a better idea of what that game is going to look like competitively. But just like Street Fighter 5,
Yeah, we're gonna see a really like good first. We have to see like it'll be like a big first impression of the game, right? Because we're gonna see everyone get their hands on it.
But here's the thing. Even back in like 2010, 2011 or so, what we saw from E3 play of Marvel 3 was radically different than how people played Marvel 3 later on.
yeah, people said Marvel 3 was slow and that it had timeouts. Like, that's what was the takeaway from Marvel 3.
People said that about Cross Tekken and it ended up being right. So I guess it goes both ways.
In Marvel 3's case, it ended up being so fast you might as well be running on Speed Force.
Literally, yeah. It's like
Oops, did I get DC in my Marvel?
10 seconds. Some of those matches are over pretty quick.
Yo, David, with the exclusion of the assist too, we also got the gem system, right? And we have a couple of gems that still aren't revealed yet in the game too, to see kind of how they, you know, manipulate the balance of the game, right? Because we got Hulk, you know, with the space gem, and then everyone's getting moving closer to him and stuff. And I'm sure there's gonna be some, you know, the pros are gonna figure out ways to optimize, you know, which gems for which character and such, right?
And there's the penalty box.
Yeah, the penalty box.
The space one, yeah.
Anything else you want to mention with the list, David? I'm sorry, we keep cutting you off here.
No, man, it's all good. Like, we gotta move along, otherwise we'll be here all night.
Yeah, anything else you want to mention though? But the list overall?
To me, like just looking at the list, like, it does look like it's significantly smaller. Like Sneakers was saying,
yeah,
it's like literally half of Marvel 2 and Marvel 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's like size is one of my biggest issues with it, really. And one other thing I'd like to know is, like, how did Capcom convince the Monster Hunter team to go along with this game when they said fuck no last time?
We'll get towards that stupid character eventually. You guys keep mentioning Monster Hunter.
It's like, how did Capcom convince them?
Oh man. Okay. All right. Let's get this moving. Let's start going over the names. I don't think we could. We're gonna do a free for all. I think it's too crazy. We'll go one by one, but I'll just name a name. Let's go down the Capcom side first, and then just share me your thoughts on the character. I'm sure Dave's mostly gonna talk about gameplay. I'm just gonna be talking about gameplay. But yeah. So let's start with Arthur. So Arthur returning from Marvel 3. He only came from Marvel 3, right? Yeah. So it seems that he'll be returning to the game. Like Arthur was just basically just like a zoner, right? But Dave, he wasn't used too much, right?
Who?
Arthur? Yeah.
In the right hands, he's a pain in the butt. Like, he can kill you pretty good if he has a gold armor and he's an X Factor, but it's mostly chip down. But he's not that big of a threat, no.
Yeah.
Like, he's not considered top 2, but he can be a pain in the ass if you underestimate him.
The character that, from his Marvel 3 kit, like, I think a character like him plus the gem system, like the Infinity Stones, are gonna. I think they'll have some like some of those stones will have some really good synergy with that character for sure.
Mm-hmm. We also heard with the one of the system mechanics, I don't know if it was confirmed, but we're hearing that if you push block with timing, it'll reflect back the projectiles. Did you guys hear about that?
I remember hearing that, honestly.
I didn't hear about that.
I read it from a couple articles, so I don't know if it's completely true. But yeah, I heard that push blocking with timing, you can actually reflect the projectiles because people were talking about Morrigan and such. So I'm sure that would affect Arthur as well, right? Assuming his gameplay would be similar to how it was in Marvel 3.
If that's true, but at the same time, like, we haven't really seen if, like, Morgan, Chris G spam is even going to be a factor in this game.
Yeah.
So like, I would hold off until E3 on a big mechanic change like that. I feel like if there was something big like reflecting projectiles was in the game, I think that we might actually have seen it like when they did the kind of like that gameplay reveal a couple of weeks ago.
I don't think anything like that can really be in this game just because of the freeze framing when you switch characters, and also like the what's it called? The opponent has a lot more time to react to all that stuff, right?
But here's the thing, like, if they did have something like reflecting projectiles but doing a just guard, couldn't you just guard... Okay, say I'm using Nova and Gamora. What if Gamora does a just guard, reflects their projectile, calls in Nova? He pretty much has a projectile covering him.
Yeah, it'd be a little wacky. It sounds like Bug City to me.
or even heck, any system where a projectile is completely negated by something that will become mastered by the pros. You run into the Street Fighter Third Strike projectile issue where fireballs were completely negated because of how strong
the parry. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So like in that case, like if even someone made the case of like, oh, if you just guard with proper timing, you can negate the fireball, like that's one thing. But to completely reverse it and put it on your side, like that feels like it would be so strong that it wouldn't make it into the final release. Because like at that point, a character like Hawkeye is just pointless, right? Because he's all projectile, and you can just you can full screen turn it on him turn the tables on him at no cost.
Yeah, like we're seeing shades of that in Street Fighter V. A lot of the system is built around anti-projectiles, especially the V-skill system, right? And so as a result of that, like some of the zoners don't really zone all the time as they could before. And now they have to actually go in and such, right?
I mean, Guile does kind of have to go in from time to time, but he can zone. I feel like he's the only true zoner.
Guile is an exceptional case. So yeah.
But Guile, I was talking to someone earlier, I think, but like Guile's big thing is that he gets so much damage when he's in that like, if you tone down Guile's damage output a little bit, like I feel like you would see him kind of fall closer to like Fang and Dawson in Street Fighter V, but like his damage output when he's in is tremendous, and that's probably why like he gets the success that he does.
It's like, I feel like not to go too far off topic, but I feel like he's like kind of like the Swiss Army knife of Street Fighter, more or less.
Yeah, because
in five,
yeah, because Capcom came out and was like, yeah, we wanted Guile to be the defensive tank and Nash to be the offensive tank, but the roles are completely reversed for some, like, despite their best efforts.
Yeah. Anyway, but back to the matter at hand, like, yeah, having something like just guard to reflect projectiles would be kind of broke in the right hands.
Anything else you guys want to mention with Arthur? Nope.
I'm basically expecting him to play mostly the same as he did in Marvel 3, but I'm curious to see what they would change, like a new super or something.
I think, honestly, given that there is no assist in this game, it is going to be very hard for some people to deal with Arthur's onslaught. I think they'll have to probably tone him down a little bit, in my honest opinion.
It'll be fun. I was interested in Arthur in Marvel 3, so if he is really good, I might use him.
But you can throw so much stuff and switch characters, right? So it's like you'll have a lot of stuff covered.
But that's where it's like, again, like I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on how intricate and nuanced the gameplay is going to be in this game, because that's where something like the gem system comes into play. Because if someone makes an Arthur pick, right, you could theoretically have, like, you could pick, what is it, the time gem, and completely close the gap,
teleporting. Yeah.
Teleport right into him. So,
yeah. Or you
I
can have
feel-
Arthur have that gem, and then he could be teleporting to avoid you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
even more
sweet Christmas snow.
All right, moving on to Chris Redfield. So another returning character from Marvel 3. He first came
We
in
already
Marvel
saw
3.
him
So
gameplay.
what's that, Neil?
We already saw gameplay of Chris, so I'm not sure if we need to discuss him that much.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I kind of want to just mention like the Resident Evil characters because there's like obviously some missing, or they could have picked
Wesker.
somebody else. You know, and like besides Wesker, they could have replaced him with somebody else. You know.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, you mean like someone like Neon?
Yeah, so like on the subject of Chris, I mean like, you know, I would like to see Jill again, but yeah, Leon would be like the most obvious choice. You know, it's Leon's turn, you know, to be in this game. But it seems like I said, with the limited development time, right? They need to fill up the roster and the franchises. Obviously, they need a character from the Resident Evil franchise for sure, right?
It's like I
So
would
you're
have
saying it's
loved
just more
Leon over
copy-paste,
Chris, but
Yeah.
having I wouldn't lose. I'm not losing any sleep over Chris over Leon. It's like, yeah,
I mean, just
would have
like
preferred it the other way around, but not the end of the world.
I mean, like say someone I'm not recent, but Jill, right, from Marvel 2, right? Like she's sprites, so obviously they have to do a lot of work to put her in, even if they have like the move list similar, right? But Chris, he came from Marvel Capcom 3, so it's just a lot easier to put him from that game into this game, you know, and fill that in.
The big thing I have against Leon is that what does he bring that Chris doesn't? Like it comes back into like what we've seen from the characters in some of their respective IP, and like Leon in a lot of ways, like I feel like even if we did bring him in, like a lot of his, unless you do another Chris
Mm-hmm.
kind of like kit, like what is it exactly about Leon as a character in those games that would be kind of like, you know, that would set himself apart?
Dude,
like
he jump through lasers and shit. Jump out a
he's
window.
more agile than Chris, right?
he gets into,
Jump out a window with no damage.
he kind of calls in, what was it, Jack Krauser from Resident Evil 4, and they kind of have a special together or something. Like it's
He's good with the knife too, man.
Yeah, man, knife fights, man.
Yeah, knife fights, dude. Leon would be sick.
Dude, who doesn't want to see that?
Or like in a weird way, like you could almost make the argument that if you're gonna go and include like a new Resident Evil character,
Mhm.
and I know I'm gonna get shit on for this, but I'm gonna throw it out there. But you could throw in like Jake Mueller from Resident Evil 6, you know, Wesker's kid.
You could technically, but
could.
nobody wants to see that.
I mean, they've done a good job changing. Like all the characters are like in the game. You know, we got Jill, right? Chris, and Wesker, and even Jill from Resident Evil 5, right? And all their gameplay is quite different from each other. You know.
Yeah, and even Jill, she doesn't play anything at all like her.
Right, but in terms of like character capability,
Mhm.
like Jill is borrowing a lot from the advancements that they made to the character in Resident Evil 5, right? She doesn't play like her Marvel 2, which was kind of inspired by her Resident Evil 1 kit. Like Wesker is basically like, you know, Neo from the Matrix, right? You know, that was their big inspiration when they brought him back in Code Veronica. So like he has kind of that crazy, very anime inspired you know, character kit.
Yeah.
And then Jill got updated with the Resident Evil 5. You know, she has that costume and makeover and movement set and, you know, and all that. So, like, when we look at Leon, like, Leon has basically been Leon since Resident Evil 2, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like Jill compared to Chris, even though they're both very capable. Well, Chris can punch a boulder, right? But they're both pretty different characters from Marvel 2 and Marvel 3. You know, like Jill like summons zombies and stuff. You know, Capcom, you know, they can figure it out. You know, they can figure out how to make Leon in the game. They can.
If anything, the Leon that would be featured in a Marvel game would have to be like the Leon from the CGI animated movies that Capcom continues to make.
Yeah.
For like Japan and stuff, because that Leon is like, you know, like he's basically a superhero.
Oh yeah, they all are at this point. They're basically the whole cast in Resident Evil is basically.
Yeah, like what is it in the new movie? He's basically John Wick, right? Like,
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Who would you want? Who would you want? Which Resident Evil character would you want in the game, David?
Uh,
That hasn't been in
Probably-
yet.
that hasn't been in, probably Leon, Krauser, or one of the
In
three.
terms of Resident Evil characters?
Yeah, like
Uh,
those three, but for sure. But Leon would make the most sense. He's like a fan favorite, and
Yeah.
he can come in and like throw off his jacket for an intro.
How is no one throwing out Jack Baker and his car?
No, if you're talking about brand new Resident Evil characters who haven't been in previous games, Jack Baker would be my top choice since we already have Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Jack
But I
Baker-
get it. I
Jack-
understand, like, maybe Resident Evil 7 wasn't far long enough to where they could sneak in a 7 character, so I understand why there was no Jack Baker, but I'd at least hope he's DLC later.
Yeah,
Oh,
he.
yeah, welcome to the family, son. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, one of his supers. He welcomes you to the family. It'd be great.
Yeah, I guess you could put what's the main character's name? I completely forgot.
Oh no.
I don't know, man. I don't remember.
I don't
Jesus,
think anyone...
we all finished it. Man.
He would have been a good assist. He would have been a good assist.
He would have.
Yeah, one of Jack Baker's super. He turns into a giant centipede monster. It'd be great.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Ethan. There you go.
Oh,
Ethan.
man. Good shit,
Ethan.
David.
Yeah,
Good
man.
shit.
Definitely got to put Ethan in there. Guy with no head. There you
He's
go.
a speedrunner, man. He's a speedrunner.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's move down this list. Okay, we got Chun-Li. We already know Chun-Li's in the game. I don't think there's really much we have to say. She's I guess a staple, right?
Yeah.
Nothing about Chun-Li you guys want to talk about?
Not really.
I didn't think so. Moving on.
She's literally the same in every Marvel game.
Moving on. Dante. There is some stuff I want to say about this.
Go ahead.
So Dante,
Which Dante is it?
I think they did an amazing job designing Dante in Marvel 3. Like, they did an amazing job. His move list, everything. So I think it's a no-brainer to put him in Infinite, for sure. But there's so many popular characters in the DMC franchise, right? And you guys notice that Virgil's missing, right?
Obviously.
So,
Okay, but now the question is, which version?
That's what I asked. Like, is it going to be...
Oh, you
DMC
think Nante?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. They're not going to put Nante in. They buried
Hey,
that
man,
game.
You never know, man.
Capcom's
like-
buried that game. They don't even talk about that game anymore, right?
Wait,
But there's also, within the mainline stuff, is it DMC 3, 4, the rumored 5?
I don't know. Yo,
Or even
Sneakers,
four.
did they like resell DMC at all? Did they re-promote it at all after its launch?
They
Do you know?
did do the definitive edition, but that's
Yeah.
it.
they had the definitive edition. I would probably lean into the speculation of a new Devil May Cry thing coming because, again, this entire list screams like marketing
Advertising.
opportunity, advertisement first and foremost, right? So you gotta imagine, like, which makes me hopeful that another Mega Man game is coming.
Okay.
Yeah, no kidding.
Please, Capcom?
Hey, spoilers, man. Come on.
Yo, dude, Nante is not gonna be in this game, guys. They're not gonna put him in this game. There's no way. There's no way.
Okay.
To be
Yeah, let's hope not. But yeah, but that's the
Dante
thing, like,
could
do you think
say
they'll use DMC 3 like Marvel 3?
Yeah, because that's a really old rendition of Dante.
Yeah.
It's like really old. So I mean, it is. I agree. Easy to just copy and paste the 3 version, but they could easily, throw in the 4 version, or like Sneakers was saying, they could even go for like something we haven't seen yet, right? So we'll have to.
I
kind of
was
wait
when
it
you
out.
said maybe DMC 5.
Is he
It's
older
possible.
in 4? What's the timeline for 4?
The timeline goes 3, 1,
Three?
4, 2.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
I
Okay.
hope they go Devil May Cry 2 Dante and just
No.
Dude, I love the artwork for DMC2 Dante, man.
Yo,
No,
man,
if-
Diesel
I love
Dante,
it.
man.
If it
Diesel.
was DMC 2 Dante, his guns would be broken as fuck.
Oh yeah, of course. That's all he has, man.
Oh man.
They
No,
just
dude,
make
it's just
him
gonna be Dante from Marvel 3. That's gonna be.
If I had to put money on it,
the,
definitely.
make him the dead shot of Marvel Infinite. That'd be okay. Yeah.
But what about like?
Yeah.
I was really hoping they would put like Nero, in it.
I think
I'm not
so.
saying take out Dante. Like they should definitely have both. I think Nero, especially with the DMC4 re-releasing lately, and that was really popular, right? Like I
It
think
I
was.
just
Nero.
don't think he's going to be a recurring character to bring back, right? So it makes sense if they're going to do DMC5. It's probably going to be Virgil.
If they go with DMC 4 Dante, they could bring back his DMC 3 gear, but they can also throw in some of the new stuff like Pandora or what were like the wings with the pins called?
I know what you're
I
talking
love messing around with those things in 4.
about. Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
Was it
what it's
Lucifer?
called. Lucifer. Yeah, it was Lucifer. Yeah, you're right.
I was like, that was fantastic. Like But yeah, it's like they could port over most of Dante's old moves using DMC4 Dante, but just adding new stuff.
Well, his move list had moves from all like the games, right?
No, it was mostly
No, it was
No?
only 3.
Oh, okay,
All
okay.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they came out. I remember interviews at the time, and like Seth Killing was saying that they used Devil May Cry 3 Dante as their chief inspiration for his play kit. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of go and with that Dante, like he seems to be the most popular incarnation outside of like Devil May Cry 4 Dante, and the two are so close to each other in style, not in aesthetics, but in style at least, that like they're interchangeable in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like I think he's just more combo friendly for 3 than he was in 4. Just because they didn't focus on him specifically. It's more of a Nero game, right?
Right. The big change between Nero and Dante is obviously like Nero has this Ed has a Nero style grappling hook component to the character.
Max Exceed,
Right.
Dude. Max Exceed.
Yeah, that shit was awesome.
But,
Best
and Dante
mechanic
was
ever,
the more
dude.
complicated character in DMC4. Basically, you could go balls to the wall with him. Like, if you remember his restriction in DMC3, where you can only have one style at a time, the Capcom was like, "Fuck it, use all the styles at once, go crazy."
Yeah, which made it really hard to play, but it gave him a really high ceiling too, right?
Yeah, it's like, but the thing is, Beowulf in Marvel 3, couldn't they use Gilgamesh from DMC4 to get the same result?
They could easily. It's just like, do they want to go the extra mile and redesign him, or they just want to copy and paste? And judging from what they did with Chris, I would guess they probably just stopped.
Yeah.
And people are going to be okay with it, right? Because people are going to gravitate towards him because they.
It's Dante. It's like, as long as it's not Ninja Theory Dante, they're cool with it.
They're gonna bury it. That's no one even remembers about that. It's strange not seeing Virgil because Virgil is so popular, and it just tells me he's gonna be like a DLC in the future, or
it's hard to balance, man.
or David, like David was talking about before, with just if they're just thinking from a balancing perspective, Virgil would be
The sword shit.
Virgil by nature is broken. He was broken in 3. He was broken in 4.
There's no X factor,
He was
yo.
broken
There's
in
no
Marvel
X
3.
factor.
It's the swords, man.
No,
It's like Ouroboros. You just can't do
He's
it.
still broke.
No, I think Virgil, like, he's a fan favorite. People like
He's
him.
so popular. They'll nerf him if they have to, but he'll be in the game, man. He's just too
No,
popular.
he will. It's more of a win than an if. But the thing is, it's like, it's just like I said, by nature, the man's OP.
Yeah, that's just like that's
Oh my
what the
God.
character is.
That's the what like someone oh man, what was it, the old design or development conversation about Megaman X, right? When they were developing that game, they were like, we needed a cooler, like older character that was like super badass and kind of broken, and that's kind of where Zero came from, right? And also originally he was supposed to be the playable character and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
But then they decided to go
X
with
was
the
originally
one-
supposed to be 0.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know that? Yeah.
But also, apparently, if I recall correctly, Kenji Inafune was the one who chose the Mega Man reps for Marvel 3.
Okay.
Oh,
But
So that's why we didn't get
So he
Megaman.
didn't actually
the
want
hell?
Mega Man in the game. It's kind of weird.
I
I
didn't
guess
get
that
that.
makes sense,
Okay.
given their.
also,
history.
he was the one who got Ono to do the bad box art Mega Man thing.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure of the Cross Tekken one. I'm
Yeah. I remember.
75% sure about him choosing the Marvel 3 ones. It's just what I remember hearing way back when.
Mhm.
Weird.
So anything you guys want to talk about on Dante? Are we all in agreement that it's Marvel's Capcom 3 Dante?
I think it's either that or DMC4 Dante, because they could carry over a bunch of DMC3 stuff to 4.
I guess
I
they
would
could.
bet on 3.
Okay, sneakers.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I just feel like it's gonna be that iteration. Yeah.
Okay, next character is Firebrand. So another Ghouls and
Ghosts
Ghosts.
and Goblins character.
Yeah, Ghouls and Goblins. So I don't know. So Firebrand art. See, that's the thing. Like we got 2 characters from that series, but then we only have 1 character from the DMC series. Isn't that suspicious to you guys?
Probably. I feel like something's coming for that franchise, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, but like you guys were talking about before, it looks like they're trying to push franchises. Looking at this list, So to me, that's
Or-
just suspicious. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's like I think on the Capcom side, we get a little bit more of the fan favorite, kind of like a little bit more consideration. Obviously, there's definitely some kind of pushing franchises going on here. But like, there's no way they're going to do another Darkstalkers game, and we have Jedah and Morrigan on this list, right? And they take up 2 slots.
Yeah.
There's Monster Hunter.
Oh God.
Boss.
Can't wait, man.
I can't
Gotta wait.
I just find it weird, right? Like, I'm just saying that DMC is a way more popular franchise, so having Virgil is just, yeah.
Even like Strider Hiryu, right? We've only ever had him. DMC is a way more popular franchise, but it could just be a sign that the franchise is kind of in this, in this remission in terms of like the IP rotation over at Capcom, and that's why we're only getting one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that, but
Yeah, I was gonna say also keep in mind Firebrand has actually had his own games. So
He's actually what? Sorry?
historically, right? He's actually had his own games in the past, right?
Demon
It's not
Crest?
just like a yeah.
No, that game was legit. If you
It was-
haven't played
Yeah,
it, play
they're
it.
actually good games.
Yeah, that was a really good game.
no, I think Firebrand brings a when you look at Marvel 3, he had a very unique kit. He had a unique play style. He had interesting and unique supers. Like, I feel like he's just, in terms of like flavoring in character and matchup diversity and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that character in Marvel 3 is just a strong, like, he has just his kit alone is like a strong, like, part of why you would just want to bring him over.
I think he'll probably be one of the most agile characters and mobile characters in the game. But I just don't know if keeping the unblockable would be a smart move in this game, personally.
Especially with no assists.
Yeah.
But that, don't forget, like,
Because you got the boom boom room, right? You want to get them trapped in that, right?
Ultron has his helpers, and Firebrand was one who had super where he summoned helpers as well. So like, he could be another character that has these kind of assist like components to him on the Capcom side.
Okay.
Yo, Sneakers, you get a lot of notifications. When do you guys keep getting Discord notifications?
Not
When
me,
you
I'm
guys are
using my
talking.
headphones.
It's definitely not me. So I don't know who it is. Someone's getting a lot of notifications. Anyways, the next character is Jedah. I think out of all the characters, this one stands out like the most on the Capcom side. Like, this is a really good character to like put in the game that hasn't been in there before. For sure. Like, Jedah is definitely
Now,
hype.
here's my question. How are they going to censor Jedah for?
Well, I was
a
thinking
T
about
rating?
that too. Like, maybe they'll turn all the blood into mayonnaise, right? Or just
Or
cream
what
cheese.
JoJo does is that they make the blood black, so maybe they'll do that for Jedah.
It will still look violent. It's not just like the fact that it's
decapitation
blood.
stuff.
It's just like how he gestures and does it. You know, doesn't he like literally just slice his wrists open?
Yeah.
Yeah, it cuts off his own head, stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. Like, how you gonna just change the blood to black? It's still gonna be bad, dude. Like, it's still like, I don't know how they're gonna put this character in this game.
That's what they've always done in the past, right? Even House of the Dead, same.
And I feel like Felicia being gone, I feel like it was more of an esports reason. Like, I'm not basing it on anything that I know. It's just an educated guess based on how Capcom's approached esports and what happened with ESPN and Mika. I think they may have wanted to avoid that. I'm not saying that's because that's the reason Jedah got in, but I feel like that's the reason why Felicia may have been left out.
But Morgan stayed. That doesn't make sense.
Morgan, yes, she's risque, for lack of a better term, but not as much as Felicia is.
Nah, going by like what, like, because
From a design standpoint, I mean.
Felicia has, like, she is risque in a just appearance sense, but her attitude is not sexual, and Morgan's is, right? And even in the little kind of like the supers we've seen in a little bit of like her kind of like poses and animations, like intro animations and stuff like that, like they definitely still do. They haven't toned down Morgan's, sexuality.
She's very suggestive.
She's still very suggestive.
But the design is like less suggestive than Felicia's, is what I'm saying. Like personality and how they convey themselves in game, yes, Morgan is more suggestive. But I'm talking about like from a visual standpoint, like the character design and how it would be presented, say on like ESPN for Evo,
You mean she just shows a little too much skin?
more or less, yeah.
Yeah, but that's like you can cover that up. You don't have to go the full like. I guess the big issue for Felicia would be the underboob, right? And all you
Yeah.
gotta do is extend the fur to cover the underboob, and the character's fine.
I mean, like, censoring those characters, I think, is easy. I just think it's just Jedah that I'm just curious, because that character's entire kit, what he does, is just very violent, right? So I'm just curious, what they're gonna do with him.
I
That
doubt
whole game is violent, man.
I doubt Marvel is gonna want a character that throws blood at them.
Yeah,
So-
or signs their own contract by slamming into them. Yeah.
So I doubt that we're gonna get. Luckily, it's 3D. It's effects heavy. And Jedah hasn't been featured in a game since what was the last what that Darkstalkers re-release they did on PS3 and
Resurrection.
Yeah, Resurrection. The last game before that, I think, was Fighting Jam.
Right. So it's Jedah. They can use a bunch of there hasn't actually been a 3D incarnation of Jedah. So there is a lot of room for interpretation on the effects work for his attacks.
I'm really interested to see how they approach Jedah. Like, how much are they going to change him?
What
I guess
is
it'd be quite a
Jedah?
bit.
What is he? I mean, like, he's not like a vampire, right? Is he like a demon? Like, what is he?
He might be another Incubus or Satan.
I don't think he's an incubus. I'm pretty sure that was Dimitri, wasn't it? Do you remember, David?
No, Dimitri's a vampire for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I always assumed he was a vampire back when I played the game, so I was like, all right.
Maybe I'll check the wiki as you guys are talking.
It's all good.
Okay, so
man.
who would be the next character on the list?
Big
The
boss.
next character is Monster Hunter.
He's Big Boss, though, just so you are.
Okay,
aware of this.
I'm just gonna listen in while I check up the Jedah wiki.
Go ahead.
Okay, so for Monster Hunter, as I was saying earlier, how did Capcom convince the Monster Hunter team to go along with it? That's what I'd like to know. Because
Dude, you have to
last
give me a
time-
background. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't play this game. You have to like talk to me as if someone's never heard of Monster Hunter before.
Okay, so basically here's what happened. Back during the Marvel 3 days, Capcom tried, I believe, once or twice to get the Monster Hunter or some Monster or playable representation in Marvel 3.
Uh-huh.
The development team said no.
Why?
On every attempt. Something about not wanting. I forgot the reason. I remember hearing something about not wanting to nail down the hunter as one particular character or something like that. I forget the specific reason, but whatever it was, they just flat out said no at the time.
Mhm.
So I want to know what changed their minds now. I'd really like to know.
Money.
What,
Money.
Capcom just threw money at the Monster Hunter teams, like, okay, let them in. We're not playing around this time.
Well, I think at a certain point, like, the Monster Hunter team, they're the Monster Hunter team, but it's still a Capcom-owned IP. They own the characters. They can do whatever they want. So at a certain point, Capcom just be like, oh, you didn't want them? That's just too bad.
But is there
Hold on.
even like a Monster Hunter character? Isn't like a character creation screen?
And that's the big, and honestly, in a weird way, that's probably the most exciting part about a potential Monster Hunter character, because you can just draw from the myriad of weapons and armor kits and everything that kind of encapsulates Monster Hunter. I almost feel like the biggest challenge for a Monster Hunter character, or just a Monster Hunter would be deciding what would be his kit, like what you put in and what you leave out.
But is
Yeah,
his
so
name
that's
just
gonna
gonna
be
be
fun.
Monster Hunter?
I think so.
Oh,
That's
God.
badass, man.
Because in Smash, they call the Animal Crossing villager just villager.
Yeah, it works.
That's true. They did.
Yeah, unless they're gonna name a Monster Hunter character, like there's a famous Monster Hunter.
There's the Monster Hunter Stories Hunter,
Yeah, maybe that.
but I think it's gonna be just the regular Monster Hunter mainline game Hunter.
Yeah, if they name it the base hunter, they don't have to limit themselves to whatever the one specific Monster Hunter had
stories or
in terms of
whatever.
weapon and armor and stuff like that. Just having a generic monster hunter that could just throw the kitchen sink at him
Yeah.
or her.
I think it might be kind of like Robin and Corrin, where probably the male is going to be default, but they're going to give it a female alternate costume.
That'd be a great idea for it, yeah. And then there is an alternate costume. Like every character is getting at least one alternate costume.
I'm talking about like from the get-go, like you have the option male or female.
Right. No, but you just know that it'll be a big deal if like if they don't include the option for both from the get-go, because they're gonna be like, if they go male first and then you got to pay for the female skin, everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're price gating diversity.
It's bad enough. Like people complain to Nintendo already that they didn't make female Corrin the default. Imagine what's going to be like if they don't give the female option at all for the hunter.
Oh yeah. Oh, or like the worst case scenarios in terms of publicity would be if it's male default first and the female alt skin is locked behind a paywall.
Oh god.
Or there is no female alt skin; it's just male.
So is Monster Hunter
they
hype?
should do
Like, is this a hype character in the game?
The game is insanely popular. Like, it's one of the few currently running franchises Capcom has right now. Well, there's Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Ace Attorney, Devil May Cry, Dead Rising. That's basically the ones that they have that are currently going right now.
Okay,
And Monster Hunter is pretty much the main breadwinner for Capcom at the moment.
gotcha.
Whoa!
In Japan, not so much here.
Releases.
Okay, Resident Evil and Monster Hunter are the ones that really bring home the bacon. No, Monster Hunter is like a mega hit in Japan. Like,
Okay.
all right, you know how big Pokemon is worldwide?
Do I know what?
How big like Pokemon is in general?
I don't know exactly, but I have an idea.
That's pretty much Monster Hunter in Japan, or at least they're equally big in Japan.
Okay, that's pretty damn
It's
big.
huge. It's a
Just
cult hit in the West as well, but Japan, it's fucking massive.
just so you guys know, I checked up Jedah, and his race says demon.
Demon. Yeah, I know he's demon.
Okay.
He's demon.
Huh.
He's demon.
I guess my childhood self was wrong.
But yeah,
And S-class demon.
class demon. S class, yeah.
Someone better call you Hakusho.
Oh man. Okay, so we're done with Monster Hunter. David, are you satisfied with the explanation of Monster Hunter?
I don't even know what to expect with that, man. I think it's as much
Just
of a guessing
Capcom,
game.
just
For,
throw the like you said, throw the kitchen sink at him.
Wait, here's the thing. I want everyone to remember that before Combo Fiend did what he did with Spencer, people were crapping all over Spencer in Marvel 3 and his inclusion because, it was the failed AAA reboot or the Grin Studio reboot.
Grin.
As the default, they gave
I love
us
that game, man.
they gave us rearmed as a costume. Let's be fair.
They gave it rearmed as a costume, but we all had to deal with the fact that he had like the sausage tentacle arm, and that everyone was making fun of it. And it wasn't
The
until
white
Combo Fiend popularized Spencer that it was like he became a hype character. So that could totally happen with Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's possible. I love Spencer, so.
But
Yo,
the thing
David.
is, Monster Hunter's
Yeah,
already
David, you're a
popular
huge fan of
franchise.
Spencer, right? But didn't that game didn't get flagged on because of the what was it? The checkpoint system or something?
There were like a bunch of problems with the game, like
No, the main issue with that was that they kind
the
of.
story.
Well, the story was they screwed around a lot with like the plot and everything from the older games, but the main issue was that they kind of advertised the game as like a open world type thing. You can go anywhere, swing anywhere, and it was so linear that people were like, wow, like everywhere you went, you died because it was like radioactive shit, right?
Yeah, and the radiation thing. Players can buy into why they're limited into a space to an extent, but the moment you create a
plot
reboot
device
that breaks their immersion, it's really hard to get them back.
Like you can see it and you can go there, but you'll die basically, right?
Or really,
That was what they did.
how is radiation, obeying these invisible lines?
Right. So
That's
instead of
like,
making an
why
invisible
here,
wall, they just
not
killed
here?
you off. Yeah. So people hated that, and then they just didn't like the look of Spencer compared to the old game. It was too much of a disconnect.
Oh, don't forget the Y farm.
Yeah, White Farm. Yeah, we won't get into that, but you know, Combo Fiend seems to love the background on that one. But no, I honestly really like the game. I think it undersold. Ended up in the bargain bin pretty fast, but it's actually a pretty good game if you give it a chance.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things. One of those games I'm gonna give a chance later.
Yeah.
Like I have a huge backlog in general.
All right, let's move down the list. So we got Morrigan. Is there much to say? Returning character. She's a staple for Darkstalkers. A staple character. She's got to be in, pretty much.
Yeah,
she's like a Ryu, basically.
She's a Ryu tier. Ryu, Chun-Li, Morrigan. Like it's the Marvel it's the Capcom's trifecta on their side.
Yeah.
Like they have to be there.
And we talked about before,
but then the dick fighting contest between Marvel and Fox happened.
And we talked about before about Morrigan and like just how she'll be, you know, the way she's played will be a lot different than Marvel 3 just because you know, no assists, right? So
and I'm guessing they're gonna get rid of that mirror super. It's like so it haunts my very nightmares to this day.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if it's as dangerous anymore.
Chris G, why?
No, people, you know, like as much as we like to hate on it, people like to watch it too. Like there's a love-hate thing going on with that, and
you try getting caught in that bullshit.
David had to deal with it, so what do you think about it, David?
I think that she needs to be like toned down. It's more just like the fireball damage. That was
understatement of the century.
Yeah,
it just did way too much damage in X Factor. Even out of X Factor, I think it did like.
But again, like, different game. Even if she were to do that in this game, like not having an assist to help lock down the character really changes what that whole that zoo or that kind of obstacle course was. You know, like you take Doom missiles out of it and it becomes a way more manageable thing. So, like, I feel like
it's true in theory, but we don't know what other things people come up with. Like, say, like you have like Astrovision, the spam, and then imagine you have like the space gem, right? And then you trap them in that box,
and then
they just have to eat the block damage, right? So it's if something like that happens, we could be seeing the same shit.
Yeah, it's like even without Doom to save her, it's like I said, put them in the penalty box, and you pretty much get the same result.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
We're only for a limited amount of time, but that's the thing. So
yeah, they're gonna have to be really careful with that boom boom.
Yo, that penalty box is like to not have a character like Mike Hagar and have that penalty box in the game is just.
Yeah. Well, they can still move around. They can still attack back. So I don't know.
They can attack back, but the whole thing was like, you know, Mike Hagar. We've all seen those matches where. It would come down to Mike Hagar and someone else who had a projectile, and he is just across the screen, just trying to jump and pipe his way in and eating all that chip.
Oh yeah, dude, I lived that, man.
Okay, I'm crying on the inside right now.
All right, let's move it on. Nemesis. So I find it like first of all, I'm like Nemesis. Why Nemesis instead of Wesker, right? But I guess they're just trying to fill the holes for a big character.
Right, they don't have much else, and I think that has to be
over Wesker. Like, it kind of makes sense in that regard.
They need something to go toe to toe with Hulk, right? So that makes sense.
Hulk and Groot, Rocket now that he's on Groot's back,
or Ant-Man. I mean, we all assume it's going to be Tiny Ant-Man, but you know,
I feel like Giant Man's going to be a super.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nemesis just filling the holes for the roster. Next up, we got Ryu. There's pretty much nothing to say on Ryu, except that he's a staple character that has to be in the game.
Like Chun and Morgan.
Yeah.
He's one word, yeah.
Spencer's next. We pretty much talked about Spencer already.
Yeah, we did.
Kinda, we covered everything. I just think that they need to tone down his, what's it called, his grappling, like his thing around.
Yeah.
They have to, because like if they don't, it's with no assist, he's gonna be like in your face.
Do they still have the 3 projectile rule in this game, where you can only do 3 in the air before you land?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they have that in this game. I'm
Yeah.
not too sure. These guys might know better.
We will know definitive. Like, trust me,
At
FP
E3.
is gonna let you know at E3 everything that's in this game in that build.
Yeah, like I'm going to E3, so like I'll be able to test out some of that stuff myself too.
I really wish I could have
Quit
came
bragging.
with you this year, but little brother's graduation and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. If Spencer's there, David, I can test out a Spencer combo for you. See who's in
Yeah.
there.
But
Okay.
no, he's heavy rushdown, so I'm assuming they would probably balance him a bit.
Oh,
speaking
could have
of the way
come with you.
the
Never
game
mind.
is, right? So
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, give him a go when you're down 3. You know how it is.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Strider. Strider, he's getting close to the staple category, right? Like,
He missed out Vanilla 3, but other than that, he was in pretty much every single one.
he's just a character that you just want in the game, especially on the Capcom side. Strider is just so popular.
Yeah,
And we've seen enough of him to know how he's gonna play. Like Ouroboros is now level 1, but doesn't really chip, and he has a new super. But
He's
other
got
than
the
that, he
timer
looks
back
basically the
too,
same.
which was
What?
good. Like I remember like me and Dave when we back in the arcade days, like, and we used to think when we played Strider and Marvel 2, obviously we didn't know about Strider Doom, and we're talking about like right at the beginning of the game, but we're like, man, Strider's so bad. He like took so much damage and he didn't do much damage, but like one thing that made him really good was the Ouroboros, like it showed the timer in Marvel's Capcom 2, and that timer
That was
is
actually
like,
a nerf. That was a nerf though.
and they gave him a new super in Infinite, right?
Yeah.
Like he has a new one, so like
oh yeah, the air super. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to when I said new super.
That's true. It's just like the
Yeah.
timer is like, yeah, it was overall it was less time than Marvel's Capcom 1, right, David? But like,
No, it wasn't that. It was like the nerf was that all like buff supers in that game shut down all meter generation, and in Marvel 1 you could
Oh.
get your meter back while you were.
oh yeah, there's like the
That-
Wolverine man speed up, right? Infinite into game meter.
Yeah. So
Oh
that was
my
why that shit was so like
Oh,
that shit
okay.
garbage in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't. He doesn't gain meter in this, right? I'm pretty sure I saw from the gameplay footage that Strider doesn't
They
gain
would
it.
do that. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Not in 2007.
Yeah, it's like I feel like if you have like a super activated state,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're gonna gain meter this time after what happened with Morgan.
No, they'll never allow that stuff. And the only reason Morgan was able to do that, really like meter gaining, like every time she hit you with that ball, you gain meter. That was an oversight on their part, I think.
I see. So, like Strider in Marvel 3, he was more of like an anchor character, right? Because of the X Factor.
Yeah, he was almost always like third. You didn't want him like first.
And Ouroboros was level 3, right?
level 3.
He's
So you
kinda like a
wanted Spider last, level 3 X Factor, level 3.
Okay.
That's how
I
you
think
wanted
it's
him.
because he's a glass cannon, like not to the level of Gene, but he can't take a hit to save his life. I wonder if that's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
be
dead in one combo.
Did he counter
Yeah.
Phoenix?
Yeah, generally speaking, yeah, because he's really really fast in X Factor level 3, and when he has orbs, like she can't do anything. She can't teleport around him because she'll get hit.
But why would you use Strider as an anchor rather than Virgil? Did he have a better assist?
No,
Yeah,
it's really Ouroboros chip damage to hell, pretty much.
it's really hard to get around the orbs. Like I'm not saying that like the what's it called?
The sword
Phantom
two-
swords. Yeah, the sword 2 like that. They were equally annoying to get around, but Strider was a lot more agile. Like you for the screen, so you had to be much more conscious. Like
But
Yeah.
the thing is, Virgil has range and combo potential, and he can make those swords home in on you.
yes, they're both like equally annoying in like an anchor position, plain and simple. Like obviously Virgil is a little bit more king, but I never like dealing with Strider. I can lose a whole team to him.
Anything on
I'm not-
Strider you want to talk about, Sneakers, or you want to move on?
No. That's I think you guys covered it all.
All right, moving on. And last person we have on the Capcom side, I guess besides Frank West, is Megaman X.
Oh, beauty! I love that guy.
Oh,
I'm like, so when they first showed Infinite and they showed X,
Yeah.
he looked so plain. I'm scared that he's not going to be nearly as hype as I want him to be.
Yeah.
it's like they could do so much with him from the X games, like kind of like how Smash 4 for classic Mega Man, they pretty much pulled as many Robot Masters powers as they could. Imagine the Maverick powers he could use. X could use.
yeah,
I feel like because like, they're leaning into the armor thing, which reminds me a little bit of Arthur. from Marvel 3, which, like I'm legitimately hoping that it's like seeing him in action in like 10 days is going to kind of correct this kind of initial impression from that initial trailer, because just watching him get beat, like after all these years we finally get a trailer with X in it and all he is just getting beat up on the whole time.
That poor thing.
Even in the cinematic trailer, like Sigma's about to kill him, like it's
He's getting stomped on.
yeah.
He's like the ultimate jobber right now.
Oh man.
Seriously.
Well, kind of. I mean, and so
Just
far I think we've only seen the X1 armor. So hopefully they integrate more of those.
Yeah, it's true. Like once he
supposedly
buffs
there's an
up, right?
armor
He's
for
like
Thor
Arthur,
first.
right? Where he just buffs up and he'll have like enhanced moves and whatnot.
I think it's gonna be more like double trigger, where like he's probably gonna get like an air dash and stuff like that.
Okay.
Mm.
Does he have an
Yeah.
air dash?
I don't.
Yes, he
I
does.
think he does.
Yes,
Yeah,
he does.
He
has
does,
to,
right?
but
Okay.
might have a
I can
double-
look up a trailer right now, but I'm pretty sure he does.
He does. Yeah, for sure. 'Cause
Okay.
I remember that he did like a blast when he came in on Ryu.
Yeah, the setup in the first trailer I think is like he jumps, air dashes towards Iron Man, and then does the character swap, and Ryu comes in at the bottom.
Yeah, we were analyzing the trailer pretty hard.
Actually, fun fact, that apparently, according to one of the guys on the Marvel team, like from Marvel Entertainment, apparently the song from the first trailer, the first gameplay one, is Captain Marvel's theme.
Okay.
That's pretty
But-
heroic.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, trying to see for Megaman X stuff. So I was like, oh, okay.
Did you guys like the design of the original Mega Man from Mars Capcom 1?
No.
Because he had to get the
Not so
weapon
much.
and then use it, right?
That Mega Man was more of what they did in Smash 4, where he was pulling a lot of moves from
Robot Masters.
from Robot Masters, and with the exception of like the soccer ball.
It's like, I'm trying. Yeah, like Smash 4 honestly did it the best in terms of classic Mega Man, and I kind of hope, like I said, I hope Mega Man X does something similar with the Mavericks.
Yeah, Mega Man saving grace in like Marvel 2 was that the Buster just did so much damage for whatever reason, for like just the normal hitting move.
And that still became a constant in future Marvel games. And
The-
part of Y-Zero was godlike.
The bomber is. I remember his supers in Marvel 2. He had the bomber where he jumped into the bird and was like,
Speed plane. Yeah.
yeah. And then he had the one where he basically turned into like a souped up version of X.
Hyper Mega Man. Yeah. And then there
It was
was
just a beam
Rush
super,
Drill.
pretty much.
Yeah. Stupid
Yeah.
rush drill.
Yeah, they were all pretty stinky. But I didn't really like Mega Man's design too much in the older games. They went from like the Mega Man 8 design with like the girly voice. So
Did you like Zero's design though, David?
yeah, I did. I like the fact that you always have to be holding down the button. I think that's a very
Great way to use the Buster, yeah.
yeah. It's like it really trains you to like plan your offense, right? Like you always have to be aware of what button you're pressing when you go in, and like how you're gonna like end the combos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it adds a completely different layer to the character.
Yeah. That's true, man.
Same with Dante, right?
Anything else you guys want to talk about X? Nope.
I just really want to see more of him because him and Captain Marvel we've seen the least amount of footage for. So, well, maybe Iron Man, or did you see more of him before?
Well, it's just that it's part of the early footage, right? So yeah, he was really unfinished the time we saw him.
I
So, yeah,
hope
just
they
want to see
kind of.
more of that.
I hope he ends up more like Dante, because in the like X is supposed to basically stand for limitless potential, right? So you want that character to have a really massive toolkit. Like I hope he has a high ceiling and a lot to work with. That's really all I hope.
Yeah, I agree with you, David.
So, anyone
I
on the Marvel side you want to discuss gameplay wise?
Sorry?
Anyone on the Marvel side you want to discuss from a gameplay standpoint?
Ant-Man.
Well, yeah. I was going to go down the Marvel list, but the last one that we had that's not on the list, but you guys suspected he's going to be in the game is Frank West, and like I think that's a no-brainer just because of Dead Rising 4. But personally, I would rather it be Chuck Green, just because I'm a huge fan of Dead Rising 2. But I guess he would be the same character pretty much. If you think
Well,
about
Well,
it.
that's because Frank kind of stole Chuck's combining weapons thing in Marvel 3.
Yeah, what about that guy from Dead Rising 3?
I don't remember his name. I didn't play Dead Rising 3.
Oh, was it Nick?
Everyone talks
Yeah,
about like,
Nick,
but,
yeah.
I mean, I recall him being all right, but everyone talks about either Frank or Chuck, especially Frank.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Nick had the vehicles,
True.
that's true.
Eh.
That's true. But we're talking about a fighting game here, so.
So, hey, Ghost Rider has his bike.
Yeah,
True.
and I'm over here fighting for Jack Baker and his car.
But what if we get MCU Ghost Rider?
Did the car have the hood off, or will it get damaged over time?
No, if you hit him while he's coming at you in the car, the hood comes off.
Oh
Sure,
my
that's
God.
badass, man.
Yeah, that would be bad.
That'd be sick. But yeah, back to Frank. You think it's gonna play mostly the same,
Yes.
like with the level up system?
I don't think they should do that. I think that was like, I don't know, like without the assist system, it's gonna be hard to level them up.
That's true.
They have to tone it down.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you think they're gonna give him this combined weapons from the start?
No, you could still do the level up thing. You just have to kind of reorient because the whole thing was like you were turning the amount of hits in the combo into experience points.
Correct.
If you redo the economics of that system where how much EXP goes into each level, and the amount of hits in the game still seem like the combos still seem like it gets into some the double digits in terms of number of hits. So if they just move where the kind of picture is being taken, like it could just be that like the picture is a DHC or he does it in the middle of like another super, or at the beginning of another super, like that's a way to kind of reincorporate that and kind of redo it. But I think that they liked the fact that like I know from talking to people who worked on Marvel 3 that they liked the fact that they had other gameplay systems that were character specific, like Phoenix Wright, like Frank West, like Jean Grey, and they wanted to do more of that. Like that was the stuff that they were the most excited about.
That makes sense.
But at the same time, you kind of had the assist to back you up, like to cover you while you were exposed, trying to get all that ready.
Yeah, but you'll be
Yeah.
switching back and forth. Like you'll do a combo with Frank, switch to your character, then switch back to Frank, and then cash out with the pitcher. It'll still be the same thing.
Yeah, because you can have again, exactly what Vesper said. You could start a combo with one character, do a bunch of hits, do the switch in the middle of like a super, get the picture, switch back. Like I still think a lot of that can work in the current game that we've seen.
Yeah.
I just don't think with just the two characters, like Frank being stinky, like right out the gate, like it's gonna be different in this game, right?
Yeah, if anything, like because the changes to the gameplay formula would make it so that level 1 Frank is more formidable than he was in Marvel 3, where he was basically useless.
Right. And I think I know what you're talking about, like having like a mini game, like the kind of game within the game trying to get Frank to level 5 or at least level 4. That's cool, but I think that in this kind of like they're trying to go more casual, so I think making it a super to like make them a little bit more like a buff super, that might be smarter for the casual audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, like the thing is that I don't think that either necessarily plays better or worse to a casual audience. Like the thing is that the depth is found by the veterans, right? Like it's not like there is a kind of like I think that the bigger thing for a casual audience is input, like execution barriers and like input systems and stuff like that. Like actual like different things that kind of make the character. Like when you look at Smash, which is widely considered like the most accessible fighting game, like you look at characters that have very unique things to like subsystems to their characters, like Cloud, for instance, right? And some of the Fire Emblem characters.
And
Like having a subsystem that's character specific I don't think it's anti-streamlined or anti-casual, I think it's that's more of a kind of conversation that has to be had on the input side of things.
You guys
Yeah,
ready?
I guess.
Oh, sorry, David.
No, it's okay, man. You guys can go ahead. It's fine.
Keep going.
All right.
I was just gonna say that I think that they do have to tone down Frank's his range and his priority is a little bit. It's just too much and like
Yeah, the battle
level
cells.
4 or 5. It's like it is too much. Like
Yeah, for sure.
like
Yeah.
I mean the hitboxes in that game are pretty wacky to begin with, but Frank's is like some of the cast just cannot do anything once he gets to level 4 or higher. So
Yeah.
I speak from experience.
Yeah.
That character does need to be toned down a little bit, at least.
Oh yeah, dump. What was it? Dual or
Jumping medium. It's like that chainsaw thing like takes up half the screen.
They had to practice with B
that
all the
thing
time.
was beautiful in terms of chip damage.
Yeah, it does massive chip and it hits overhead like quickly. So it's like it has so much priority.
It's literally just smash and pray.
Pretty much, yeah. And it gives you so much leniency, and I don't think that would fly in this game based on what I've seen them trying to gear the game towards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have in this game like getting locked down with something like that in this game where you have fewer escape options potentially where you don't have an assist to kind of bail you out of that. It would be a little bit just more oppressive. So I hope but I do think that they do have a good balanced team more or less that has their eye on these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the moral list. I'm trying to push it so we can get to it.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. So the Marvel list of things now. This is where like I'm just pretty clueless on a lot of this stuff. But let's start with Ant-Man. So Ant-Man was featured in Marvel 3 as part of Hawkeye's Super, right? And that's pretty much it. But then now he's got the movie franchise and all that. So yeah, you guys assume that Ant-Man will be. Well, most people are gonna assume that he's the small version, right, in the game.
Yeah, I feel like he's mostly gonna have like shrinking in his moveset, but Giant Man I feel like might be a level 3.
Like I really don't know how he will play. Like you think he'll look like just a normal dude, and then at most of his move list will just change his size.
He is probably the most fascinating for me.
It's like I think the shrinking is gonna be his gimmick, but how he's gonna use shrinking? Like, will he shrink his enemy using like the discs that he has? Does he call ants to help him out like for certain special moves? There's really a lot you
probably
can
like
do
an
with
assist.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he has a lot of potential in regards to all of that. Like as a character, like everyone kind of the go-to is like, oh, he's gonna get really tiny. There's a lot of things that kind of come into play with that. Maybe he gets tiny as one of his supers, and when he's tiny, he's way faster. Or no, he wouldn't be faster. Actually, he's way stronger, right?
because it's like as Hope Van Dyne said in Ant-Man, in the movie, Ant-Man's pretty much like a bullet whenever he hits while he's tiny.
Exactly. So like he'd be really strong. It's fascinating because like Marvel in general has this weird like it's one of the few fighting games, or at least Capcom fighters, where the whole Versus series is okay with playing with non-standard character boxes or character model boxes, like hurt boxes and hit boxes for character stances. So like a character that is changing that could potentially change that on the fly during the match, repeatedly is kind of a fascinating character to potentially have in their game.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys think if they did something like they made it so he could turn into like Servbot size for like a length of time?
That's the thing. Like, how small would Ant-Man shrink? Like, would you say rocket size, Servbot size?
I mean, I personally hate that little character shit, like where the certain combos will drop and stuff. I personally do not like that. But
yeah, so you wouldn't want to see that in the game then.
From a gameplay perspective, no, I don't. I personally don't like that kind of stuff.
I think the smallest, maybe a little bit smaller than Arthur, but like Servbot was ridiculous.
So you don't think Ant-Man should be that
man.
in tiny mode?
I mean, it'd be hard to see too if you're looking at it from like a spectator, perspective as well. If he was a super tiny character, I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't want the guy to just use ants. You know, like you want him to actually like change the size. You know, that's what people expect from the
That's
movie.
true.
And even in Marvel 3, like his super, he goes from tiny to huge. Like the last thing he does is step on you as a giant.
Yeah. They could do whatever they want with this character for sure. I think you guys are onto something too with the ants as assists, so I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's see who else, or could we discuss? Who's
All right.
next on the list, Vesper?
Next character is Captain America. Not much to say. We're
We're
gonna
seeing a lot
expect
from
him. He's just such a staple in the Marvel franchise right now. Yeah,
All right.
and he looks really similar.
Yeah, we've seen a good bit of Ultron. I actually really like Ultron's kit from that last video.
No, he looks fun to play. I really can't wait to try him out.
He looks top tier, honestly.
He looks like something that like of someone who's just looking from a competitive perspective in the game. I would see that they'd have their eye on Ultron right away just by watching that character how he plays. The built-in assists
Everything. Like
and his
even how
speed.
I can't believe it's not assists.
Yeah. No.
No, but like I would actually like I think the first two I wanted to get my hands on was going to be like Hulk and Ultron.
Oh yeah, that reminds me, that bubble move, like one of his supers, what is that? Like, does he take away meter, health? What?
Which one?
In the second gameplay trailer, when Ultron uses a super, he surrounds the enemy in like blue nano lights.
Yeah, but it cuts out after that, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't even show the health bar. I'm pretty sure it's just like a level 3 animation.
No, level 3 is something else entirely.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like where he calls the Ultron bots to attack.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
So maybe it takes away health, meter, infinity meter.
I'm not sure, man.
I'm having a hard time recalling that one. I'm gonna have to take a look at it again.
It's in the second gameplay trailer, like the compilation. Near
I
the
haven't
end.
seen him, man.
He does look the most Marvel-esque so far, but again, that goes back to what I was saying before of like, if for some reason, I think it's just because it's just effective, right? But like, you know, the Marvel community likes a very specific kind of character, and these characters kind of have a lot of overarching similarities in their kits. You know, when you look at the Storm and the Magnetos and the Virgils and the, you know, like Ultron and the Doctor Dooms, right?
He has
Like,
good air mobility, and that's what we're gonna look.
yeah, and Ultron very much is harking to that in a very big, very, very strong, obvious way, actually. So
I think that may have been what they meant by the tradition is not lost, like the legacy of Marvel isn't lost. Ultron, I feel like, kind of carries that.
Well, like, we're already guessing, too, because we're like, oh, Black Panther's going to be in this game. He's going to play just like Wolverine, right? Like, that's the first thing we all think, right? You know?
But he's not there on day one for whatever reason.
Yeah, which is strange. I figured they'd put him in for sure just to fill in the hole for Wolverine.
I mean, you kind of want to, you know, the movie's coming out a little later, so you might want to have that Black Panther DLC closer.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, because like, look, what is it? We got Spider-Man coming out in July, right? Thor has a movie coming out in a couple months
November.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, Black Panther comes out, what, next year? Neo probably knows this one better than I.
Thor Ragnarok comes out in November. Black Panther comes out on this February, which is Black History Month.
Yeah. So, like, having him come out in the first wave of DLC, a little bit post-launch, maybe when some of the characters are dropping in November after Thor Ragnarok's already launched or something like that. It's just closer to the Black Panther release date. It's just a better fit.
We got
Unless
Hulk
they
in
wanna
his
put him in
gladiator
season
armor
2.
as a DLC, or I think a pre-order costume.
Yeah. Although I feel like they may save Black Panther for season 2, mainly because like it's gonna be closer to the Black Panther movie, so they can release him like day and date with that.
I don't know. I think.
I'm not sure if they want to wait that long either.
I think season 2. I think season 1's run might go later into December, and season 2 we're gonna have to wait a little bit until season 2 starts. So like maybe like 3 or 4 months or something like that, which would mean that like Black Panther's release window would be completely skipped.
Like it may already be out by the time season 2 DLC starts.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
So
That's a good point.
Now, do you guys think the game will be better off if it comes out dive kick free?
Ooh.
Like for
That's a good
the first
question.
season, like say there's no characters with a dive kick, you think you'll benefit from it?
I honestly don't mind either way. Like, dive kick is nice to have in general, but I won't be like waking up with a cold sweat if there's no dive kick.
Even before Sigma has a dive kick.
Are we talking about Doctor Doom dive kick?
Or Wolverine.
No, like historically speaking, like every single Marvel game, for the most part, has always had a character with a pretty strong dive kick, right?
dive kick.
I guess I could see maybe Spider-Man or Gamora dive kicking around.
No, Gamora is probably the most likely.
Hold on, guys. We're bouncing between the names so much. We were on Captain America. Now we're talking about Ultron. We're all over the place right now.
Yeah.
Let's just keep
we
moving down
kind
the
of
list.
went to Ultron on the list, actually.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Vesper? You
About
think
what?
the game should be dive kick free, or do you think? it would be-
I think they should have a little of everything, something for everyone, right? Because they're trying to get the biggest audience possible, right? I don't think that you go dive kick crazy, which won't really be casual friendly, right? You're talking about aerial attacks that recapture them on the ground, right? And they're really hard to deal with because they're fast and because there's not much moves you can do. Like you don't see Ryu players DPing on reaction when somebody try jumps them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And go ahead. Sorry.
Firebrand had a pretty notorious dive kick in.
Oh, right, Firebrand. So we might already have that covered.
Possibly.
All right. So anything else you want to discuss about Ultron?
we weren't even on Ultron. We were on Captain America,
know, right?
dude.
Oh, actually, we said Captain America played basically the same, so we went on to the next character.
But then Ultron's at the bottom of the list. So how would you guys skip all these names?
Oh yeah, we just skipped Ultron.
Yeah,
We
you guys are
just wanted
crazy.
to talk Ultron.
All right.
So,
Next.
Next up is Captain Marvel. I don't know anything about Captain Marvel. This is
I feel like the
We
funny
decided
thing.
to take a chunk of her, but she also has energy absorption, so I could see that playing into her moveset.
Yeah, so like the funny thing about how they've handled Captain Marvel, honestly, is like they announced they announced the game with her. She was one of the first characters they showed, and it kind of like X is actually in the same boat, but like after they announced her, really didn't focus on this character at all.
Mhm.
I feel like I've seen more of her doing her super animation than her in actual gameplay. So that's
She
like,
had a few command grabs from the looks of it.
yeah, I feel like she's one of these characters that, like, even though we've seen her in the game and we've seen a little bit of her play, we really don't know a whole lot about, like, definitively about her kit. And she's a brand new character,
yeah.
like X, and he's kind of in the same boat. So I feel like they're kind of like, but meanwhile, we know a ton about, like, Chun-Li and Captain America, and these are both returning characters, right? So
Yeah, we'll find out at E3, man, how she plays. All right, moving on to Doctor Strange. So Marvel's Capcom 3.
Marvel was pretty anal about how Doctor Strange played in Marvel 3, so I wouldn't be surprised if he mostly stayed the same in Infinite.
Is that a good thing though?
He was a good character, wasn't he, David?
Extremely.
He was.
Extremely good, right?
Extremely good, and he's anti-Phoenix.
Okay. Okay, well, Sneakers has got to go. We're past his time limit.
I guess he has stuff to do.
I have to make a run to the airport.
Well, Sneakers, I really appreciate your time, man. Thanks for joining us,
It's
dude.
great to have you.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, brother.
Great guys. I hope we can do this again soon in the future.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
All right.
that. So yeah, thanks for your insight, man. We'll talk
Take it
again eventually.
Take it easy.
Take care, buddy. Okay, so yeah, you said Doctor Strange is an extremely good character.
He's very good.
I'm not. He wasn't the top tier per se, but he was up there.
Let's put it
you-
this way: Nemo did pretty well with him, right?
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
he did.
So yeah, I feel like Doctor Strange will remain mostly unchanged.
All right, moving on to Gamora. Am I pronouncing it right? Sorry.
Gamora.
Yeah, the green girl from Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
All right, her over Star-Lord aside, I'm not. I'll talk. I already got vented about that.
Like you wanted Star-Lord out of all those characters, obviously.
Yeah,
Obviously.
my avatar. I'm kind of a fan.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like Gamora. You mentioned earlier that she could kind of pull from X-23, and I can see that, but that goes into the question of like, did Capcom intend on fighting for the Fox characters as DLC? If they didn't initially, then I could see them doing some successors. But if they did intend on fighting for them, I could see some of the newcomers being completely unique, not pulling from any of the cut Fox characters.
I don't
Gamora
know.
in particular,
Sorry, keep going, Neil.
X-23 analogy. I mean, like similarities aside, like that you could make for Gamora, which would be kind of far-reaching if you ask me. She's pretty proficient with basically every weapon imaginable. She has the Godslayer sword, which is her iconic blade, but she's also proficient with guns, staffs, spears, anything you could think of. Hence, her being the most dangerous woman in the galaxy. She could pretty much be like a weapons expert, like Dante,
Okay.
like everything but the kitchen sink.
But she's definitely gonna be an in-your-face character, though, right? Rushdown character.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Besides, like a few guns that she might have.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that, like, this is one of those cases where, like, Star-Lord, he's obviously super popular, right? Really easy to
And
recognize. But, like, they obviously putting Gamora in because then she kind of fills that hole. Or it's kind of like, they put in Nemesis instead of Wesker, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like I feel like you said, with Nemesis over Wesker, it's like same case, Gamora over Star-Lord. Like,
Yeah.
the other one's more popular, but this one kind of fills a void in the roster.
Filler character, yeah.
Yeah. I think so, too. Anything else about Gamora? David?
No, I'm good, man.
I know you like your
I'm not-
She-Hulk, man, but she ain't gonna play like She-Hulk.
I'll say this though.
Why you make me cry, man?
If the Nova we get is the Nova I'm hoping for, he and Gamora better have interactions in the game because they're kind of a thing in the comics.
Well, dude, what's her name? Como Fiend's working on the game, right? And he loves She-Hulk, right?
Yeah, he does.
So
Maybe DLC.
maybe DLC.
We'll
There
see.
you go. There you go, David.
All right.
Fingers
who's
crossed,
next?
bro.
That character's so annoying, man.
Oh, I know.
that slide. Anyways, okay. Yeah. Next character is Hawkeye. Even though he's
he's
returned, he looks
different.
different, right? Why does he look different, Neil? Explain this to me.
Pretty much in the MCU, they did away with like the classic costume and pretty much everything else adopted it. The one in MVCI is closer to MVCI. I need to pronunciate. I'm sorry. Is closer to his design from the Avengers Assemble cartoon. So there's that. Like from a visual standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, he looks to play mostly the same as he did in 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sans the different level 3. Like, he still has his slide, he still has his gimlet, he still has many of his trick arrows.
Like, he's a really good zoner, right, David?
Yeah, it's pretty annoying.
He could get in if he wanted to as well.
What was, like, the difference between him and, like, Taskmaster? Like, I guess he just had a bigger range kit?
No, it's mostly like the separating factor with the super. You can hit you anywhere on the screen anytime, right? It's like
Yeah.
gravity
yeah,
squeeze level one.
the Flash, right?
Yeah, it's like gravity squeeze with like level 1.
Gravity
Yeah.
squeeze.
It stops you right there. Like, right then and there, you can instant.
Mm.
Taskmaster is more of like a barrage
Mm-hmm.
of arrows.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else about Hawkeye?
No, I just hope they because he's probably going to be one of the most dominant projectile characters. They're going to have to like kind of balance him with the switching mechanic in mind because he's probably going to be like heavily chosen as like a backup character.
Who else would be a zoner? Are there any other zoners? Arthur, right?
Arthur, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know if Dante
Chris?
or Chris.
Chris wasn't a zoner,
Probably
was he?
Chris. Yeah, Chris is like heavily zoner, man.
Oh,
I used
okay,
to use
okay.
him. Yeah, I used to use him with Doom missiles. Like
Suck
he's
it.
pretty solid. Yeah.
The Magnum?
Suck.
What was the
Yeah,
main?
ma-
what was the main weapon he used in range?
Usually Magnum.
Okay.
Pretty much like almost everything, dude. You pretty much like alternate between all of his guns.
Really?
Shotgun if you're jumping in, or you get too close.
Oh god.
Magnum if they're far away, and then even like certain characters that we can go prone and like press like
I forgot
hard or
about
whatever.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really annoying.
Sounds annoying, dude.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of zoners in the game, but if they give one zoner too much dominance, then a lot of people will gravitate towards that character, just like Cable, right?
Well, I mean, like, look. What about the time gem, or stone?
Oh,
Stone. I said
Yeah.
gem. Stone.
Stone, but like the thing is, they do something like that, I guarantee you, there's if you use that teleport, it's most likely going to leave you vulnerable when you come out of it, right?
Oh, okay.
Wait, which
So-
teleport?
We're talking about if Hawkeye used the time stone, the one that makes you teleport, the green one.
Oh,
They
yeah,
pass through
that's the time.
opponents or projectiles and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it just enhances owner so much, right?
That would be stupid.
Yeah, but it would. But like you gotta remember, like other people are gonna use it to get around zoning. But I'm saying if the guy like has something where he can say like Hawkeye has a charge arrow where he can hold it down, or like Megaman X, and then someone teleports, they're gonna eat the projectile because he can just
Yeah.
time it for when they come out of the teleport.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on when the invincibility starts.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
speculation, and we're getting a little past like the rock.
Yeah, we're
I would
getting
say
way out there.
Hawkeye he's not that bad in 3, but again, this is a different beast, so
Yeah.
we'll have to see. I hope they tone him down a little bit, just because I think that he would be a gravitational character. Like people would go to him just because he's so annoying as a zoner.
Oh, speaking of annoying, the next character we're talking about is Hulk. I know you hate Hulk, David.
Oh man, my favorite.
He looks mostly the same, so I'm not sure if there's really much we can talk about with him.
Well,
He looks the same, but I mean
game,
gameplay
but dude,
standpoint.
he's
Gameplay
able to by himself like air combo you and re-juggle you off the ground.
Oh,
now.
I see that. Like he did he did some kind of trip, and then he's like relaunched. I was like, sweet. That's just what King Blue River needs. So
So you think you're gonna continue his
right?
dominance?
I don't think he'll be as dominant, obviously, because he'll have the same backup. But again,
Stone,
it
man.
depends. It
Hulk-
depends how big of a factor that the gems come into play and the the tagging system, how much that compensates for the assist.
Just tone
I mean,
down the
if-
armor, man. The armor is out of hand.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just like it's not even super armor; it's hyper armor. Like he just eats everything.
What's the
So-
difference?
Okay, super eats like one extra hit before Hulk gets stunned, but hyper armor basically it's almost pretty much invincible. At least 2 to 3 hits, if not completely eats everything.
Does Sentinel have that?
Yeah, he does. It's hyper armor, not super.
So Hulk was like exclusive to him or what? I don't know, man.
No, I think it's the same for both of them, but only on certain moves. And I know Hulk's was like standing H. I wasn't like a giant player, so I can't really.
Yeah, I
say
hear
off
you,
the top
man.
of
You
my
just
head.
had to
And
deal
it's
with
been
the
a
giants.
while. I retired a long time ago, so it's been a while. But
Check right now. I have to turn on my PS4, but I can check for armor. But
No,
yeah, if you want. But I'm pretty sure it eats pretty much everything, and I don't even know if he gets damaged from like certain things by it. I don't know. I'd have to check.
hang on.
It's a little bit too ridiculous. Let's put it this way. It does need to go. It should be
Alright.
super armor, not hyper.
Gotcha. I agree.
Alright.
All right, next character while Neil's doing his thing. Iron Man. We've already seen it. Same thing. We haven't seen much of him. He looks different though, doesn't he, David?
saw some of his moves.
He looks a little bit different, but he definitely looks slower and honestly shittier than Ultron. So I can't imagine anyone picking
Like
him.
Ultron looks like the better version of him, right?
So far, I can't say. Maybe Iron Man's just like us.
Isn't that the way it should be though in the lore?
Who knows, man? Maybe they brought back his MVCI. We'll see. But I really don't see a lot of people picking Iron Man over Ultron, so I think he's just kind of wasted space.
They need to bring back his Infinite, man. I think he needs.
I know.
His Infinite needs to come back. That's what I think.
I honestly agree.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, they could take out Guard Break. They can like take that out, but just keep the Infinite, right? Just
Yeah,
take out
I mean,
one.
like, he was never really easy to land a major, like, solid hit with.
Yeah.
So, he should be able to capitalize on that, right? And in the old days, that was what you're afraid of. If you got hit by Iron Man, you lost the character.
So wait, which normal am I gonna chuck for hyper armor?
Standing hard for sure.
Alright.
Yeah, standing hard. That's like the beefiest one.
All right, I'll try to record. I don't know, Nova doing something, and then see what happens.
Sure. You just want to see if Hulk gets stunned at any point, any normal
Alright.
moves.
All right. Anything about Iron Man you want to talk about, Neil?
Like I said, he has 2 new moves, which we saw in the trailer, but that's basically it. Like, we don't see a whole lot of them. He has the Tri-Dash,
Yeah.
but as you said, he's probably going to be like a crappier Ultron from the looks of it right now, unless we see more of both characters at E3.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends.
All right. Next character is Nova, and you already
We
talked
get
about
the
Nova
double.
for a bit, Neil.
Yeah. It all depends on which Nova they go with. Like, if they go with Richard, I can see him playing mostly the same.
Mm-hmm.
If they go with Sam, I could see him carrying over some of Richard's stuff because in Ultimate Marvel 3, Sam was an alternate costume for Richard,
Mm-hmm.
or at least his costume version. I mean, his cartoon version. But they could probably have room to make Sam unique, his own character, kind of like how X-23 was to Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it all depends on which Nova they go with.
Anything about Nova you want to talk about, David? Centurion.
No, I used them.
Centurion, actually.
He was probably like one of the better ground characters of the game because like they nerfed She-Hulk's slide in Marvel 3 when Ultimate came out,
Yeah.
but then they gave Nova that ridiculous, I think, crouching medium that like
Also
slid
the
like
grab.
really really far. Yeah, the grab.
That
And
was
then he had that one thing where like was it what's it called? Gravimetric pulse that like took his red life and turned it into like that barrier.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, he had a lot of weird like unorthodox
Mm.
character, and he had one of the better try jumps in the game, even though it was kind of like vertically. You couldn't really do it to try. It was more like straight up and down.
You like that?
But yeah, but he was a solid character all around. I just think
Oh no,
he
wait! I
was-
just realized something.
What's up?
I think it might be Richard for one reason.
Okay.
Hawkeye's voice actor in the recent cartoons, it's Troy Baker, who
Okay.
voiced Nova back in Marvel 3. But
Yeah.
they got his Marvel 3 and Earth's Mightiest Heroes voice actor, Chris Cox, back to do Hawkeye.
Okay.
So I think they're
Dude,
saving
okay.
Troy Baker for Nova, which would imply Richard Rider.
So we're going by voice actors. You think that it's most likely Richard then?
Yeah, the original.
Okay, that's
Probably
cool.
is, man, just because it's easier for them to do. All right.
Yeah, copy and paste things like something they would probably.
Yeah, man, there's a
stick to.
lot. So next character, this one's strange. It's Rocket Groot. It's Rocket/Groot.
We already saw a bit of it with one super, but the question is, how much of Groot is in the moveset?
Well, like that's the thing. Like, yeah, we did only see a super, and he was like on Groot's back, right? But like, do you think
But he was already there.
it's gonna
for
be
a while.
like Groot just standing there with Rocket on his back? Do you think that's what the model is gonna look like?
Probably, yeah. But I mean, like even in Marvel 3, log trap and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't think the character will change that much from a gameplay standpoint. I hope not, at least.
I feel like I have a gut feeling that maybe Rocket may be more of a newcomer in the gameplay sense than we realize, mainly because of Groot.
So completely redesigned, you mean?
Well, David,
Yeah.
it's just because it says /Groot. That's what throws me off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it could be a new character. Hopefully, I mean, we'll see. I guess it keeps it interesting. But
I
kind of
want
like
him to
how
be a new
Rocket played
character
in
because
the
I don't
game.
like the tiny characters, right? So
Okay, yeah. Maybe they won't have that kind of stuff in the game. Maybe Arthur will be more
what,
normal
like
size.
a huge beast?
No, not like a huge
Hey, how do I
beast, but like
record
he'll
in
be like a
Marvel
man, not like a mouse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
What?
how do I record a character doing something in Marvel 3? It's been a while.
Just give up, Neil. Just give up, man.
You go to recording in was it player settings?
Player settings, got it.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say to you. All right, you want to keep talking about Rocky Groot or?
Yeah,
Well,
keep going.
no, just
you wanna
that
keep going, or-
I
we're
think
good?
Neil's right about him being a different character just because it says Groot in the name.
I would hope that they would do that based on just the Marvel Cinematic Universe tie-in alone, because
Yeah.
I don't think Groot would make a good standalone character.
That's probably why they did it, hey?
Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, he's just not too much of a character on his own. But I guess adding him to Rocket's arsenal would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
I mean, that would make sense.
Next character is Spider-Man. Another staple.
Oh, the
Has to
Spooder
be.
man.
Spooder. He's got a game coming out soon.
It's It's Peter Parker, like no doubt.
But is it going to be like
Please don't-
the
please
one that
don't
we
get
know and
freaked
love,
out.
or the one that
Please
they're going to
just stick with Josh
featuring
Clooney.
now?
The one
Please,
we
Lauren.
know and love. What are you talking about, dude?
Well, like the
No,
old
voice
school, like the old one that we like, are used to, or is it going to be like the redesigned outfit with like the gadgets and
Maybe Miles
gizmos from
Morales?
Tony Stark?
Oh, the MCU Spider-Man. I
Yeah.
think it's just gonna be regular Peter Parker from the comics.
Okay. Well, for me, I feel like they really dropped the ball on him in 3. Like he had a very iconic playstyle in the old games, and in 3 I feel like they tried to redesign him, but it just didn't work. And then
What are you talking
anything
about? He looks like he played mostly this. Like he had all the same moves, didn't he?
similar, and I guess he got that like the web swing to super. It was okay, and the fact that he had that what's it called?
Well, we had
That
like that air
unscaling.
dash, David. You know what I mean? It wasn't an air
Yeah.
dash, but you know what I mean. Like,
Well, okay. So what I'm really trying to get at is when you have a scenario where it's like Iron Man versus Ultron. It's like you have characters that play the same, but one is superior in almost every single way.
okay.
That character just never see the light of day. And the problem with Marvel 3 was Spencer was so much better than Spider-Man, so no one ever played Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
But they were like same playstyle type, like they both like zipped around the screen. It just had like Spencer just had so much potential. In the original vanilla, I think both Spencer and Spider-Man had an unscaled throw,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Like I'm pretty sure Spider-Man's like web throw or like grab thing that was unscaled in vanilla.
I just checked Hulk's thing. I mean, has standing heavy. It's super armor, but not hyper armor. He still gets damage.
But no, but does he get stunned?
No stun. Just
Yeah, that's what hyper is. Because in the originally a super is like if you take more than one extra hit, like Hulk will flash in Marvel's Capcom 1 and 2. He'll flash when he gets hit, and then the second hit will stun him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
But they changed it. Yeah, hyper shouldn't be in the game.
But yeah, it takes damage, no flinching.
Okay, yeah, hyper should not be in the game. I think it's bull crap. No matter how you do it.
So anything else about Spider-Man you guys want to talk about?
I hope they
I want a
revamp
Spider
him.
Sense counter. That's really what I want from him.
They're not gonna have that.
Yeah,
I guess not, but a guy could dream, right?
yeah. No, I hope they kind of go more horizontal air dash and not that like diagonal zip that they gave him in.
I think
3.
they'll make him a little different in this one, dude.
I hope so. I really do. I feel like it just didn't work in 3.
Especially with the new movie and then the game. I just feel like he'll be just a little bit different to match a little bit better.
Yeah, he needs a revamp. I think he was better in the older games than he was in 3.
All right, next character. Oh, this is a good one. Thanos.
Okay, well,
Here's a question: do you think it's gonna be the same as older games? Or
No
are they gonna redesign
way.
it?
They're not gonna make him the same.
okay, well, first of all, for God's sakes, give him an air throw.
Yes.
Okay,
I knew
that's number
you
one.
said that.
And second of all, I don't know, like he needs way more utility because it's really hard to land hits with that character. Like, it
Dude,
just does not open you up at all.
they're
It's like,
not.
I wanted him to have his gauntlet for the moveset. Oh no, wait, they can't have him
They
have the
can't.
gauntlet. in
He's
the moveset.
using the gems, man. He's not gonna be like the Marvel 2 version at all. There's no way.
No, they can't
So
be
yeah,
copy
they're
paste. It
gonna
has to
have
be
to redesign
revamped.
him.
Yeah, man. He's gonna be completely redesigned for sure. And he'll probably have an air throw, David.
So what kind of
I hope
character do
so.
you think Thanos will become? Like, in your face, zoner, a mix of the two, like mid-range.
He's definitely gonna be. Yeah, I would see him being. I can imagine the bubble will come back because it's like
No
pretty
way.
much iconic to his character.
But,
Yeah, no, man. Come on,
but
bubble.
the bubble I think was
Yeah.
linked to the gauntlet, which he can't have because of the story.
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know. It's called Infinite. Maybe Infinity Gauntlet.
I'm saying the gauntlet needs the Infinity Stones, which are a mechanic in of themselves.
Is he gonna
It's
be in
true.
this chair? Is he gonna be in this
What?
chair? He's gonna be on this throne.
No, I think he's gonna get up. Maybe he'll be on his throne for the intro, but
What, you mean like MODOK?
Yeah.
That's not gonna be MODOK, man. Come on. He's gonna be obviously.
Dude,
like
he might
Doom
be on
wearing
his
the
chair, dude.
No, man. No MODOK. No Thanos, man.
Dude, okay, is he
You
gonna be
will-
huge? Is he gonna be huge?
He will be big. Yeah. He's always been like
He's
like a
huge.
juggernaut
he
size.
towers over everyone, pretty much.
Dude, are we talking about like Nemesis big? Like how big are you guys talking?
Probably Hulk big.
Hulk big. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. He's definitely gonna be a larger character. I would guess that he would probably have a pretty diverse tool set. Like he'd probably have zoning tools,
Mhm.
heavy hitting. Maybe he might have super armor. We'll have to see. Like he's a very omnipotent character in the comics, so I
Yeah.
can't imagine him being like just your average run of the mill like Nemesis.
But no bubble.
I want to see Bubble come back, man. That shit's amazing, dude. And that would open so many opportunities, like switching. So I personally want to see Bubble come back, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
No
I
bubble.
love me some Bubble, man.
Neil, bubble?
I wouldn't mind it coming back, but hang on. I don't have my PS3 connected, so I can't check Marvel Superheroes or to see if he had it, or Marvel 2.
Yeah. He
So I think, but they think it was tied to the Gauntlet. So if that's the case, I don't think it's coming back. But I'd be okay with it coming back though.
All right.
Well, you gotta crush my spirits, man.
The bubble, man. No comeback. All right.
Oh man, it's the bubble for life. That's actually another good thing because we just talked about Spiderman and Thanos, and we didn't talk about this gameplay standpoint. Do you think capture type moves should be in the game?
It'd be so strong. Well, we don't have assists, right? They were strong with assists because we had like Colossus with Thanos bubble assist was like instant death, wasn't it?
But without the assist, it won't be as strong since they can just like mash out of it.
Technically, yes, but if it's a scenario where you can throw a bubble or throw a web ball and swap out the character and then teleport behind them, it's the same scenario, right? Just a little bit different.
They don't want the game to be like. Remember, the whole reason they took out the assist is they don't want the game to be like, oh, I'm forced to use this character. So even if if there's no assist in the game, if a character has like a capture move, like even Spider-Man, he'll be a really good character to have in general, just because you'll get full combo with any character, right? So I don't think they'll have much capture moves in this game.
I mean,
I would agree. I would agree.
Web ball is an important part of his moveset, so I'd imagine the capture will remain. But I think they'll adjust like how long the capture state lasts, or how easily you can mash out of it.
You know what I think they might do is if you switch characters, that they might snap out of it. That's what I think they might do.
That's another way to do it too. Just so it's only for the character,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
That would be my guess. If I had to guess, I think that if they're trying to balance it, that's probably what they do. Otherwise, it's going to be the same.
So still chance for bubble then, is what you're saying.
Same shit, different pile. I think that's if they don't do it that way, then it'll be the same crap. Like people will just gravitate towards characters with like dumb, stupid assists, and then or not assist moves, and then they'll just figure a way of utilizing it in their gameplay by switching back and forth.
Still chance for bubble. Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Next character is Thor.
Apparently he has a I guess.
I don't know, man. You guys go forward. You guys take the
He
mic.
looks
all you, Neil.
Right, he has a new level 3. He has a hammer throw move now. Other than that, he looks mostly the same. Like moveset wise.
He looks slow.
Yeah, I don't know.
He needs
Like-
time stone.
But I think, I feel like Time Stone's going to be beneficial for Thor, but I feel like we need to see more gameplay of him. But we saw a good bit of his gameplay in the trailers.
2 words, wasted slot.
Yo, David, was Thor like one of the worst characters in Marvel 3?
He was, yeah. I mean, he can hit pretty hard if he does land a hit. It's just landing it. Just
His mobility was too weak.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just way too. He's too slow, and he just does not have enough tools.
Like, what about Nemesis? Was Nemesis better than Thor?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Frick. There's one guy that used Nemesis that was really. I think it was unknown. There's a couple other people that used.
I remember there was a couple players.
Yeah, he has potential. He's one of those characters that if he land that solid hit on you, he can pretty much wipe you out if you're not careful or if you have like more of a pixie. But like he can take out Virgil pretty easily.
He had like rocket launcher super, so.
Yeah, it's just like Nemesis could do that damage. Like he could kill you if he gets like the perfect team behind him, but unless you're Justin, like you're not gonna land those hits.
I hear you. Yeah, his mobility seems to be his biggest issue, but maybe the stones will help him.
Who knows? Like, hopefully they'll go back to the drawing board with him.
Yeah.
A bit, maybe give him a little bit more speed, but who knows, right?
All right.
Perhaps.
And finally, the last character, which we've already talked about for some reason, is Ultron.
But there's more to say.
There's more to say. Well, okay, look. Like we talked about before, I think this character is going to be really popular competitively, just from looking at his kit. He
But
looks
that
like...
depends on if they nerf him between now and release. If they
No. Don't
don't
talk
think
like
they are?
that, man. No, just pretend that they're just making it from a what you see is what you get standpoint. And
Yeah, man.
let's just pretend that Ultron's gonna be badass, and
Yeah.
He's gonna be on every
Let's
team.
be fair, Neil. Let's be fair.
Yeah, like I personally, when I first watched the trailer, Ultron was the only one that really stood out to me as someone I would really gravitate towards. I wanted to play that character.
Yeah.
So
So
From a-
knock on wood.
yeah, knock on wood. I mean, I hopefully like they didn't tone him down too much because he did seem like he had the speed, he had like air mobility, which a lot of other characters won't have.
Did you guys get that?
Get what?
Yeah, I heard it. I heard he knocked on wood.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard the knock. You're good.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, Ultron just looks like really just because his mobility and the assist things looks really cool. But yeah, I think it's a good addition to the cast for sure, especially on the Marvel side. Ultron.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Well,
yeah,
how about
man.
the characters?
I guess that's it. Besides Sigma as the
And
DLC, first DLC character coming out.
I hope they turn
Venom.
Sigma into like a Zero fill-in. I really hope that they do a good job on Sigma.
It's like, but again, there's still Venom to talk about.
What do you mean? I don't see Venom on the list.
No, he was mentioned in the GAF thread that as being DLC.
Oh, he's one of
Okay.
the DLC. You're saying?
They didn't say if he's season 1 or season 2, but they said he'll eventually be DLC.
Well, okay. Let's talk about Sigma first though. Like, what kind of character do you guys think Sigma would be though?
I think he's gonna be a very mobile. character.
Could he take some stuff from Zero, like the sword and whatnot?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like in a lot of the games that you fight him, he's extremely mobile. At least the first form, and he has his like pretty much like a Z Saber, same as Zero.
So I
Um,
guess Zero on steroids.
Yeah, but without the Buster, because I don't remember him having any.
But he's way bulkier than Zero. He's really fast. Like,
extremely fast. Like he's like
First form though.
he's like Wolverine fast. Like he's like off the walls like really quick.
but that would be his main form, right? Is the first form of him?
Yeah.
Like he'll be just
and
standing with his suit.
he can teleport. So those are things that I think will be in his moveset. But if we're just talking like Sigma by himself, I can't imagine him having too many tools because he's a boss, right? So you always see him in like different armors or different, forms like Sigma virus, like just head floating around.
Yeah.
I don't know. There could be so much to Sigma that he might like overshadow X. I would assume that he'd probably end up being other X, to be honest. But who knows, right? They might drop the ball and he might just be another bulky character. Has a sword.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, that
I-
just depends on how they go with him, like how accurate they are to the Megaman X games in terms of adapting him.
Right.
Mm.
And I just hope that they do him justice and actually turn him into a character that people want to play because I like the character. I think he's cool.
It's like I really want to try out Sigma. Honestly, it's like a young boy's dream, like to see finally Sigma in an MVC game. It's been years, even
Yeah.
if he's DLC.
Even I wanted Sigma to be in the game, right? I don't know much about him, and I still want him in the game.
And I'll be real with you,
you need
man.
to play the Megaman X games, my friend.
I honestly think it's the closest thing we're gonna get to Sagat in a versus game.
Don't bring up Sagat, man.
So
Tiger Beam.
just pray that he turns out okay.
Yeah, out of all the characters like we see on this list, like the ones that interest me the most is like Jedah, Sigma, Megaman X. And
Are you saying like from a gameplay standpoint or just how they turn out?
just the first characters that I'm gonna try, basically?
Okay.
That I have interest in, and that's mostly from aesthetic, right? Not from a gameplay. Just they're
Yeah,
just
just
cool to
do me a favor while you're down there. Do check out Spencer.
check out. Well, that's even if Spencer will be available during when they have them. Like I'm sure they'll announce a bunch of characters at E3.
Yeah, and
who will be at E3? Who will be at Evo? Who will be at Comic Con? That's the question.
I'll probably try Ultron first, just so I can smash
Well,
whoever journalist is playing against me.
he's a given. Like he's obviously like in a playable build. Like,
I really wish I could come with you guys to E3 this year. It's like,
It's okay. One day you guys will be coming with me. Every year there'll be something to do for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and Venom you said, right? So why
Yeah.
Venom instead of Carnage? What's going on here?
Venom's the more popular one, to be fair.
Is this true, David?
well, I mean he's more iconic, but I don't know. I think Carnage deserves
like-
his time in the sun too.
It's like Venom's like one of the big three villains. Like Spider-Man's arch enemy is always going to be Green Goblin, but Venom and Doctor Octopus were always up there as well. Like there's Goblin, like I said, Goblin, Doc Ock, Venom, the big three.
But Carnage is like a bad guy, right? Like he's really bad guy, right? Like before
He's really a
Honestly,
psychopath,
relic
yeah.
of the 90s,
he was a
yeah.
psychopath, right? Was he a murderer?
Like he's actually
Yeah.
a psychopath. Yes, he's a psychopath.
is.
Like,
But yeah,
and
like
he's
I
like-
said,
so, go ahead.
I was saying earlier, he's a bit of a relic of the '90s, like super hardcore, super bloody, super violent.
And
Yeah,
It's just part of his character.
he's the Marvel side's Jedah. Like he's extremely like there,
oh,
and
Yeah.
he's so bonded to a symbiote that he refers to himself as I instead of we.
really?
Yes, so he's like it's a different beast entirely, and
Would
he's
they
a
have-
much I think he's a more interesting character, but I still think Venom like the Madness comics and stuff. He does some crazy stuff too. So
I think they did explain like the whole logic of the symbiote bonding in the Guardians comics.
yeah, I think the symbiotes as a whole are definitely one of the coolest arcs in Spider-Man's like history, like or villains wise. Like he's definitely one of the most iconic villains he has. So it makes and huge fan favorite. And honestly, like from a gameplay standpoint, he's super annoying and super easy to play for like someone just starting into the series.
His animations would be sick though, like for Venom, if they keep his old moveset.
Right. So
That's true.
I think he would be a great addition, and it's like we're thinking about Capcom, right? So it's like from a business standpoint, it's easier for them to take that and this like kind of copy and paste them, maybe revamp them a little bit, than to like completely.
They can't copy paste him. Venom's a 2D model.
Yeah, you know what I mean though. Like I mean, they copy and paste like his
Yeah.
moveset. Like they already have something to go by. Whereas Carnage, they have to like go from scratch, and they're like, okay, how do we do this character? How do we do
They
justice?
have to reanimate everything anyway.
Like Strider
so-
was a sprite, and Strider is really similar. In Marvel
Yeah, that's
3.
what I'm saying, right? Like
Yeah.
they have like a base to go by, whereas
Yeah.
Carnage is like they have to start from scratch. Like they can kind of copy Venom, but then he's so much more of like a beast, like a psycho, right? So they have to give him more violent things to work with, like like axes and scythes, stuff like that. Right?
Hmm.
So I really think that I don't think we would see Carnage because I think Jedah really fills in that spot. Like he basically is the Capcom Carnage.
So hence Venom.
Yeah, so Venom makes more sense to me, and it's especially because they already have that base to go by, right? It's so easy for them to just.
I see what you guys are saying. Yeah, that makes
And a
sense.
fan favorite too, so yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, now that we have this whole list, that's it, right, Neil?
That we know of. No, wait. There might have been talk about Black Panther DLC, but I have to double check.
We already talked about Black Panther, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So looking at this whole list, we'll start with David. Which two characters appeal to which two characters would appeal to you most? Like out of this whole list, like if you were to make a team. I'm saying two because it's a team, right?
Yeah. Okay. So if I was like literally just to have like in front of me right now, based on the leak list,
Yeah.
I would probably pick Ultron. I know, boring, whatever.
But that's just
and
strictly
then-
because he looks good as a character.
Yeah, like usually when I play these games, like I always play them competitively, so I always would kind of gravitate to a character that I know I can kind of start the ground, start running. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I hear you.
like running out the gate, right?
Yeah.
Hit the ground running. So I would probably pick Ultron and Spencer because I'm familiar with him, and I would want to see what's changed.
Okay.
And tournament wise, I used them, right? So or Dante, one of the two.
Besides, but if you didn't know gameplay, like if you just saw this list and you haven't seen the game, would it be the same? Like who would you pick with the two characters that you like personally?
If I was just like a random person and I had no idea how the game's played,
Yeah.
I would. Let me look at the
I'm
list.
surprised you're not saying Jedah, man. Like I think Jedah is so sick. I don't know.
Yeah, I would pick Jedah if I didn't know anything about gameplay and I just
Yeah, man.
want to try him. But I would say probably X, right? Because I like.
Oh
Megaman
yeah,
X, right?
yeah,
But like gameplay wise, from what I've seen, he doesn't look too impressive.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I would probably say X, Jedah, Tron, from what I've seen.
All right, Neil.
Like-
As I said earlier, my Ultimate Marvel 3 team was Nova, Phoenix Wright, Rocket. I think you can guess what my Infinite team's going to be.
Oh man. So it's just all Marvel.
I'm probably going to try X. I'm probably going to try Jedah. I'm definitely going to take Sigma for a spin. Who else?
We're talking about like immediate roster though.
Oh, immediate? Yeah. Nova, Rocket and Groot, of course. But
Okay, yeah, and for me, like I said, Jedah, X, and Sigma. Like, I'm more on the Capcom side of things when it comes to characters. I like Capcom characters, right? Even though, like, my MVC2 team, David, is like all Marvel characters. Oh, man.
Every one of your teams is a Marvel, man.
What are you talking about? What do you mean, Marvel 3? Who do I use in Marvel 3? Oh, yeah, I use Wolverine.
I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember, dude.
I don't remember either. I think it was like Dante, Wolverine, and T-Bone or something. I don't know.
T-Mon's not a character. She's just like...
What do you mean she's not a character? What's that supposed to mean?
She's not a character in that game, man.
What are you talking about? I landed at level 3 all the time.
I'm sure you did, man. Okay. Whatever, Drew.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Anyways,
okay.
one character actually we didn't talk about that I would really want to see how he plays is Ant-Man, for sure.
Who?
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to fathom how the shrinking and expanding thing would
And
work.
the ant-assists.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's one of those characters that like, they can do anything with him.
Yeah, so
Son of a
Just to
motherless
see how he
goat.
plays.
It's been that long.
I don't know. We've
No, I'm
been
like
talking for
the
quite a bit.
discussion.
Yeah, I know. We've been yapping for quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's what happens, man. That's what happens. Even with 3 guys, it takes a while. I'm used to doing this
Yeah.
with just 2.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's wrap this up because we need to sleep. We need
Yeah,
to
I
sleep.
do. I gotta be up in
Okay.
like 4 hours.
First, let's give a shout out to Sneakers, who was on for I think more than half of the discussion, but
Yeah.
he had to go.
Yeah, and David, Neil, really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this with me. I haven't done a podcast in a really long time, so hopefully we could do this again sometime. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to
Yeah,
get
it's
some
always a
insight.
blast, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
always great to be on, and hopefully we can do it again, like you said.
It's just hard to schedule it to get us all together, you know? But,
Oh, wait. The full name is for Sneakers is Sneakers SO. I forgot to mention that.
okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. I'll probably write it on the screen or something. So, yeah, the next time we'll talk is probably after E3, so post E3, and then I'll try to play as many characters as I can and then give you guys insight on it and, you know, go from there. So, yeah.
All right.
So,
I'm
for
probably
the
going to
people...
be studying.
Sorry, Neil?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably going to analyze the shit out of that footage.
Oh, yeah. So, for the people listening to this, thanks for taking the time to listen to this, guys. Don't forget to like the video and be sure to subscribe, as we'll be probably doing some more podcasts in the future, but I'll be covering Marvel's Capcom Infinite really, really closely. So, yeah. Till then, guys, take care.